The challenge begins. Today's matchup. Larva, Im Hong-yu, Zerd. Rain, Jung Yoon-jong, Protoss. KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4, Round 8. KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
What's up? We're here in the round of 8 of the ASL. Tastes and our toasts are back as usual. And we have got a kick-ass matchup tonight. The round of 8 sizing up to have some pretty interesting matches. It's kind of tough to say who's going to advance. Of course, Splash always a favorite overall in the round of 8, but beyond that, the makeup of the round of 4 can be very different.
Certainly it can, and I think this might be the hardest match overall. Two of the best performing players, at least for online play, right? But
for sure,
can these who's going to stand up and actually take the win here offline? I mean, Larva has been playing very, very well, both online and even offline here. But when you look at the two players, right, which one is a champion? It's Rain. This guy has won multiple championships in StarCraft 2. He's got so much stage experience. He plays Protoss, and from my experience this morning, that seems to be the strongest race.
You been having a hard time against Protoss, man?
Pretty difficult time today.
He was telling me about that, man. We were talking about right when you think you've really got it down in a matchup, only to discover after you lose 3 games in a row that you don't know shit. You got to start over, like erase the foundation and begin the building of understanding. Yeah, getting that foundation, the new one set up, and trying to understand that matchup again. I feel you, man. I feel you. I played some Brood War this weekend, and I needed some Prozac, man, for sure. That was pretty sad. This matchup tonight's going to be fun, but let's look at the entire bracket. Coming up on Tuesday, we have Sulky versus Hero, a CVC, which I think is probably, I think you were saying this is the toughest one to call. I think that one actually might be the hardest thing to figure out who's going to advance.
Oh, yeah, well, I think Bisu versus Baxter is the toughest one to call. Now
like, well, you'd be wrong about that, my friend.
Yeah, you're right.
Bisu should advance against Baxter, but if Baxter wins, that's the craziest dark horse story that we could have asked for. Baxter barely making it into this ASL. And of course, Flash versus Mind. Flash definitely favored, but you cannot underestimate Mind in a TVT.
He's a brilliant player, and you know, the mechanics of Flash won't necessarily carry you through in a TVT. A TVT is a lot about brains. Braun can sometimes break through, but man, if he has enough siege tanks in position, that's going to beat the greatest macro player. So for sure, that's actually a very, very good match in my opinion.
And I think Mind actually has the best shot of upsetting Flash there. We'll be going into our match shortly, guys.
까지 넘어가는 건 좋은데 결정적으로 결정타를 날려야 되는 상황 안에서의 전투가 안 좋다라는 느낌이 듭니다. 병력을 나눴어요. 자, 여기까지.
We are going to do one quick interview before we start this off, see what our players are thinking, and then hop into this best of 5.
8강이 시작됩니다. 아시다시피 8강은 다전제 방식으로 진행이 되는데요.
Stargirl says today is the start of the quarterfinals. Today's where we finally have our longer series.
안녕하세요.
Let's meet the two emperors of online play and find out who the true emperor is. Hellos are passed around.
먼저 우리 저항에게 물어볼게요. 네.
So you're our Zerg Emperor, Larva.
8강 무대 지금 처음이시죠, ASL에서.
그렇죠.
네.
It's your first quarterfinals in ASL.
분들 앞에서 지금 경기를 하게 됐어요.
네.
소감이 어떠신가요?
일단은
You're gonna have a
그동안
match in front of so many people.
매번
Many of them
탈락했던
rooting
모습만
for you.
보여줬는데
How do you feel?
확실히 극복한 것 같고요. 극복했으니까 이제
In the
올라가는
past, I'd always get so nervous and anxious,
보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
and I was always so afraid about being eliminated.
자신감인데 우리 푸앙에게도 물어볼게요.
I really want to show everybody I can have a great offline match.
다전제가 처음이잖아요.
네.
이 시드를
I believe this is
위해서라도
your
정말
first,
올라가고 싶을 텐데
big series in a
많이
major
하셨나요?
Brood War match since
우선
remastered.
준비는 했는데 스타 1에서는 다전제가
You
처음이긴
must be
한데
very
그래도
hopeful to
스타트에서는
advance.
셀 수 없이 많이 해봤기 때문에 뭐 긴장하거나 그런 건 없고 그냥
Yeah, I believe you're correct. This is the
잘해가지고,
first quarterfinals
저도
in Brood War
좀
remastered.
그것 때문에 좀
But I've had a
긴장하고
long history in
그래서.
StarCraft 2.
이몽규
So
선수
I think I'm definitely
기세에
ahead of
좀
Larva in
보이신 건가요,
experience.
그러면?
그런
Even though
건
Larva
없는데,
plays well.
네.
네, 그냥 홍구도 잘하고 저도 잘하기 때문에 모르겠어요 어떻게 될지 오늘.
Are you confident to face Larva?
작은 실수도 허용하지 않겠다. 약간 그런
He's
의미로
good.
들리네요.
But I'm just saying I'm solid. I can't tell you how it's going to go though.
띄워주는 척 해봤어요 한번.
네. 제가 눈치가 없었네요. 우리 이몽규
He said
선수는
I'm just
오늘
pretending that
경기를
I'm
위해서
evaluating him a little bit higher.
변현재 도재욱
Hence the laugh.
선수랑 염습을 했다고 제가 들었어요. 근데 정윤정 선수랑은 좀 스타일이 다른 선수들인데
I heard
도움이
he
많이
practiced
됐나요?
with Mini.
저번 시즌에서
Very
예선에서
But they got very different styles of
네.
play.
정윤종 선수를 그래가지고 그냥 뭐 아무 토스랑 연습해도 똑같은 토스니까 뭐 똑같다 생각하고
네.
그냥
I don't think it
연습했습니다.
matters as much who I prepped
모두
with.
다 내 밥이다.
예.
It's all about just playing against the Protoss.
정말 이명규 선수 보면은
Are you saying Protoss
자신감이
is an easy
정말
race?
대단한
He said
것
that's
같아요. 근데 최근에 제가 듣기로는 기세가
I can see you're really
약간
confident, Larva.
집중하고 있다고 들었어요. 약간 다른 게임도 있고
Recently-
약간 그런 이유에서
I'm sorry,
네.
your current state is not like it was before.
약간은 또 좀 숨길 줄 아는 자기의 플레이를
Yeah, I
대회 때 내 전략을 방송에서 다 보여주는 거는 자살이
This is my
되기
strategy, basically.
그럼요.
예, 일단 좀 최대한 숨길 만큼 숨겼고요.
네.
뭐 똑같이 해도 어차피
I haven't really
운영으로가도
exhibited my full
있기
strength
때문에
when I'm streaming.
뭐 크게 걱정하지 않고 있습니다. 어느 방면이라든지.
So
정말 자신감 넘치는 이명규 선수인데
If we go into a long
우리
game,
정윤정 선수는 또
I
이번
don't think there's going to be problems. I think he's going to be surprised.
약간 몸이 안 좋은 모습을 보여주셨잖아요. 그래서 시청자분들이 정말 많이 걱정을 하시더라고요. 오늘 컨디션
In this season, you
어떠세요?
said you weren't in great shape
오늘은 컨디션
early on.
좋고 뭐
What's your condition like
컨디션
today?
나쁘다고 해서 뭐
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
나빠도 올라갔잖아요.
아오.
그런데 오늘은
Even if I'm in
좀
bad
자신 있고.
condition, honestly, I
홍구가 아까
make it this far.
대기실에서는 토스전이 어려워가지고
Look at
잘
Larva
떨어질
laughing.
것 같대요.
네, 저도 들었어요.
네, 그래서
Just when you're in the
홍구의
rating
자신감
room,
같은 건 허세인
You were
걸
saying
알기
that Protoss
때문에
matches were so tough.
좀 적당히 했으면 좋겠어요.
Yeah, well, I'll be saying that if I get eliminated.
적당해라. 우리 이몽규 선수랑 정윤정 선수는 또 SK T1
Even if she's saying even if you show confidence in the video, I think you're still bluffing.
그렇죠.
네.
근데 이몽규 선수가
Over to you, Larva. You guys were in the same teams in the
정윤정
past.
선수를 거의 한 판도
네.
못 이길 정도로 실력이 안 됐다고 해요.
예.
지금은
And
좀
I heard when you
다를까요?
guys were in the same
이제
teams,
뭐 올친
you
이적 시절은 누구나 있는 거니까요.
hardly ever
네.
beat Rain.
저는 이제 또 아프리카 와가지고 승승장구하고 있고 또 경기력으로도 증명을
Yeah,
해보고
but that's an old
있기
story.
때문에
Since
오늘
I
경기하는
joined,
데는 딱히 과거 데이터가
Africa-
중요하지 않을 것 같습니다.
오, 그러면은
I've been bringing out some
우리
great
저항이
performance.
푸항을 한번
The important
평가해볼까요?
thing is the here and the now.
어떤 선수인가요? 정윤정 선수.
Okay, so
그냥
give us your
김태경
evaluation
선수
of Rain as a Protoss player. I think
이거
he's
정윤정
maybe
선수
second best
푸항으로서
after
상당히
Bisu.
좀 자존심이 상할 만한 발언인데,
네.
네.
Okay,
네.
how do you evaluate Larva?
맞아요.
Well, also, sorry, how do you feel about his
네,
comment?
틀린 말이 아닌데
Yeah, I agree with that.
태경이
I'll
형한테
take that.
최근에 한 6대1로 지더라고요. 네, 그 정도면은 네, 짭퉁인 저도 이길 수 있지 않나.
Recently, I saw Larva
그럼 우리 푸항
lost
저항을
against
한번
Bisu
평가해볼까요?
6-0.
어떤 선수인가요?
So I'm still
근데
confident.
홍구가 예전에는
And if I'm second to Bisu, that's going to work just fine for me.
좀
I think you
못했는데
actually called him a
최근에는
second
확실히
class Bisu.
엄청 잘하고
Oh, is that what he
Bisu
said?
wannabe,
A second
like a Bisu
때문에
poser.
Oh, my bad.
그만큼 저도 긴장하고 좀
That completely changes what the meaning is.
해야 될 것 같아요. 홍구 그냥 네, 잘
Recently,
하는
Larva
것
has been
같은데
playing well.
이번에 만약에 저한테 지면은
So I'm curious to see what he's actually going to try to pull off against me.
그러면 마지막으로 이제 덕담 한 마디씩 주고받는 시간 가져볼게요. 이몽규 선수에게 한 말씀 해주시죠.
If he does get eliminated tonight, I think he's going
그래도
to be pretty
홍구가 이번
crushed.
대회에서 처음은 아니고 8강에 올라왔잖아요.
그렇죠. 다전제가
네,
두 분
오랜만에.
다 지금 처음이죠.
네, 그렇기 때문에
Larva made it to
그걸로
quarterfinals
만족했으면
first time.
더 이상 꿈도 꾸지 말아라.
I hope he's just gonna be
약간 이런
satisfied with
의미로
quarterfinals,
들리는데 화답해
is what Rain
주셔야죠.
says.
황제란 타이틀 오늘 떼드리겠습니다.
Rain sounds like he's saying, don't even dream
역시
about it.
두 선수의 기세가
He says, "Tonight
정말
I'm gonna show him
무섭습니다.
who's the real
이번 시즌
emperor."
첫 시드자가 가려질 1경기 지금부터 ASL 시즌 4
All right, we're
8강
going to do it.
1경기를
We're going
바로
into this match
시작하겠습니다.
now.
I love it, man.
Can we talk about how in these interviews in Korea, we have it where they'll ask a player, like, well, what do you think about this guy? He'll either be like oh, he's not that good, or, oh, I really respect his play. And then as the interviewer probes and prods, eventually he's like, that was part of my mind game to say that for the interview to mess with his head. And I'm like, well, I think you just exposed your plan. I mean, don't you want to say this after it's all said and done?
Right?
It's just this weird thing that's been happening. We've done too many interviews where it kind of, why is everybody a James Bond villain in the interview? It's like, my master plan all along is to do this and this and this, and he's slowly lowering his opponent into a vat of poison, or
There's a laser
shark
coming
tank
towards his mouse hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, his fingers are spread
But
apart.
then he manages to escape free and take him out that way. Anyways, this is a best of 5 tonight, and whoa, I just now glanced at our monitor and look at the eyebrows on Larva. That's what he's hiding behind those sunglasses.
Oh my God!
Look at those piercing eyes. He doesn't even look real. His face looks like he's like from claymation or something.
I love it.
Wow.
Well, this guy, I mean, he is the most based of the StarCraft 1 pros,
for
man.
sure.
Sitting up there with his aviators on and in sweat.
Now look at the eyebrows in this one.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. But then look at the confidence and the thumbs down there of Rain.
Well, Rain is like, this guy was truly prepped to be a champion, right? This is like, he's, how do I even put this, right? Like, he is the golden boy. He has won so many tournaments. He was coming up in StarCraft 1 really hard. They switched to StarCraft 2. He became one of the most influential best Protoss in the history of the game. He's come back to StarCraft 1. He's crushing it again.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a coach's dream player, right? And then you got Larva, who's wearing aviators, talking like Conor McGregor, wearing his sweatpants up on the stage. He's just chilling. When he loses, he bashes his keyboard. I mean, this guy's great, man.
We got the Conor McGregor song playing here, too. Best beard in Korea goes to Larva.
Does it?
It does.
Because I'm looking at a mighty fine beard right now.
I'm just a second-rate Larva beard.
Oh, my God. You're second-class Larva
That's
beard.
right, second class. Larva is somebody, if you guys watch streamers for StarCraft 1, Larva's your guy. He's got a lot of character. He rages, but it's pretty funny sometimes.
Oh, it's hilarious.
But he's also super funny, super cool.
And he's super good.
Yeah, and he's been very steadily improving. He's the modern StarCraft 1 Zerg that we're watching for, who could get to those higher echelons at the very, very top.
And as he kind of shows us his style more and more and more, he's definitely not like a micro Zerg, right? You look at some of these guys, or like, think of Jaedong and Effort, something like that, right? And you just think, wow, the micro there is so crazy. You look at someone like a Soulkey, it's like, oh my God, the mechanics, the macro, it's wild. He's so good.
Yeah.
I don't think that way for Larva on either count, really. He seems to me to be a very cognitive Zerg.
I
He's
like
very much a thinking Zerg player. So, like, he will get himself into good positions strategically, tactically, not necessarily by out-microing you with his mutas and Lings, but through other means. So that's a really cool player to have here, and against the type of player that Rain is, I think it's a pretty good matchup for Larva stylistically, in my opinion, because Rain, he is a macro god, a defensive monster.
But, you know, Rain, let's not confuse the StarCraft 2 Rain that we see with the StarCraft 1 Rain. I feel is actually pretty different. He's a lot more crafty.
The game, I mean, the game is different enough that I definitely agree with you, but
the race is different enough, too. Protoss StarCraft 1, Protoss StarCraft 2, totally different operating.
Yeah. Very, very different.
The parameters and how you can work the race is a different beast.
You're very right, but I think that you can still see that same type of flavor in a lot of his play.
Sure.
Like, he is super good at getting into that late game kind of unscathed.
I got a lot to say about that. Let's go into game number 1 on the map, Crossing Fields, Larva versus Rain.
KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I was wrong. I can tell for the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I live with the pain.
Do we have any cheers? Okay. Even cheers on both sides. We have Larva here in the center left in purple and Rain in the bottom right in the teal. Yes. So, to what you were saying earlier on, you know, Rain was a guy that you and me were man-crushing on pretty hard in StarCraft 2 because he was the reactionary Protoss. The guy that just defends and scouts and finishes his tech tree and wins.
Yeah.
The cleanest, most virtuous way to play the game.
Yes.
The way that really, if you want to teach anybody.
That you say that, virtuous. Because it's definitely.
Well, you know, when you win a game like that, you're like, yeah,
I'm better.
I'm better than you.
Yes.
That's it. I know,
understand more of the aspects
from
of
A
this
to
game.
Z,
Yeah.
I can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good. There's another drawing of me with sunglasses on for some reason and a headset. I don't get it. But StarCraft 1, of course, operates differently. But in PvZ early on, what is the most important thing early on for a Protoss PvZ? To be able to defend and scout everything.
Yeah.
And last to the next phase. And I think that's why the StarCraft 2 reign, who is champion, one of the most revered Protosses in all time of StarCraft 2, functionally is terrifying early on in a PvZ in StarCraft 1 is because usually it leans slightly towards the Zerg in some aspects. Just early on, you can really punish a Protoss. And we see it even happen at the highest level of plays is something goes wrong in the first 3 minutes and the Protoss is dead.
Yeah.
But not with Rain. And look at that. That's a great drone drawing. And there's another drawing of me.
It's weird. They keep
It's
on
weird.
drawing.
It's not exactly like my nose.
Well, you have a lot of Korean fans
Yeah,
whenever
I guess
Larva
so.
plays.
I can't
It's really
figure it
weird.
out. I can't figure it out. What?
Well, here he
What?
is. The
Okay,
cognitive
here we go.
player, hiding a hatchery.
Wow. Oh, well, look at that. It's remastered. We can zoom in. I'm still not used to it, man.
Yeah.
When I'm casting, we start to zoom in. I'm like, whoa!
What's happening?
I get vertigo for a second. I'm falling to the screen.
Look, he actually has a drone on hold position here for a probe that is nowhere nearby because he doesn't want this scouted. Obviously, if you see that there's no hatchery here, then you know that there's a hatchery somewhere out in the map. Trying to be tricky.
It should be noted for our StarCraft 2 nerds that are watching, trying to learn this. You can't get a drone up the ramp if you can't see some minerals or you don't have vision of minerals right then and there, or a gas to get it up there. Everything is blotted out, blacked out at the start of a StarCraft 1 map. So as much as you memorize it, you don't get to see it again until you actually go there. So the drone blocking this out, disguise. Now, first of all, if you see a drone here, you're going to be thinking, okay, that's weird.
Why is that there exactly?
'Cause-
You must be doing something funny.
But he can't confirm it, right?
No, he cannot.
Now, this may be a fake out to try to make I'm not sure exactly how this rush works.
I think this is definitely a fake out in a lot of ways. And the thing is, a probe can technically beat a drone.
There's something with our display. I keep getting confused with APM and minerals.
It's like, damn, make the hatchery.
I was like, he's got 400, and I've never seen minerals go up that fast and go down that fast. That's crazy. It's been throwing me off since the start of this ASL confession here. But the drone is now going to be pushed back because Zealot comes in. And the fact that there's a hidden hatchery here, I don't know if we really highlighted this enough. This is some kind of insane all-in.
Yes.
From the Zerg. This is not like, well, I'll just make a hatchery there and go into a macro game.
It very much is. And look at this. The Zealot's going to try to figure out what it can, but it's going to get killed off pretty quickly.
Keep in mind, he has not seen the natural yet. So he still is not privy to what's happening entirely.
Seeing the gas, though, is definitely very, very important.
Very
here.
true.
And he sees that it's not even mining, right? So that tells him that Zergling's speed is already on the way, most likely.
Now, what's weird about doing this strategy by Larva in this spot is that you can block the ramp with Zealots.
Well, he's going to drone drill it, won't you think?
Damn it, you beat me to it, Artosis. I was going to sound really smart. I was going to be like, but aha! Okay, so anyways,
okay.
Artosis, the total.
You were slow rolling.
I'm like trying to play this one up. Artosis is like, but tasteless. Here's the answer. Drone drilling is something that a lot of people might not be fully familiar with because it's kind of unique only to StarCraft 1 RTS. You can bunch up your workers and right-click on their minerals because you can see it with the Overlord in there. Is that a battery?
That is a battery.
Okay, cool. So the drones are going to come. Now, when the drones get there, he's going to hit stop right when they get on the Zealots. That forces everything to spread out until it can find surface area, thus breaking the wall. Here we go.
Yeah, and look at that. The Zealot gets pushed forward. Going to be picked off in a matter of seconds here. The shield battery's finishing up. The probe's coming out as well. Oh, my God. That is so many Zerglings.
Yeah, but the probes are actually in a very good spot. Now, once the drones can't really drill that effectively. So as long as the pros can get like proper surface here, which I don't think he can. Yeah, that's going to be it. GG. Okay. Nicely done, Larva, with the mind games to start things off. Not showing us late game. That is the strategy. I don't think he's going to use again, but that's pretty tricky. That's a super smart way to hard counter a Protoss.
Well, a cognitive Zerg like we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
He plans this for the first map, Crossing Field, which, by the way, is map 5. So he hasn't revealed any sort of normal plays here on the map. He won't use that again.
Yeah.
But that gives him a huge mental edge going forward. He just got basically what amounts to a free win. It's not like that is a particularly hard strategy. He took a gamble. It paid off hugely.
It was smart. The decision to do it was really good. Yeah. And that's a strategy anybody can do if they practice it a little bit.
Yeah. It's really not that hard.
It's a very frustrating way for Protoss to lose. And
it's especially good on this map because there's no way they're going to go cannon at the top of their ramp. It just doesn't make sense. You can just go Zell out here.
Although then again, I guess if we see that enough, I guess Protoss does want to go cannon, even though it's not pretty.
If that were to become the standard, absolutely, yes.
Great choice there by Larva. And this is really him outmaneuvering a veteran tournament player, Rain.
Yeah. That's such a strong victory. But Rain, I mean, at least he knows where this series is at right now. Larva is absolutely willing to do some gambly type of builds.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Rain will be a little bit more prepared in the future, but I don't think we're going to see another game that looks like that, to be honest.
We shouldn't. Drone drilling is, I think, very underrated compared to the fact that, like, I've lost some games to some very good players. I think I even lost a game to you once, where you drone drilled me.
Probably.
Yeah, and I was just
I
like,
have some dirty CVP.
The moment that you did it, I'm like, oh, okay, he knows about that shit. So I guess we can't. I guess I know what builds I can and can't use against you. Anyways, we are going to go to a short break. When we come back, game number 2, Larva versus Rain.
우진아, 나 가영이. 우리 사이 그냥 친구라고 생각했는데 요즘 네가 다르게 느껴져. 만약에 말이야, 내가 널 좋아한다고 말해버리면 어떻게 될까? 닿을 듯 닿지 않는 우리 사이는 검색창에 레진 코믹스를 검색하세요.
저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 저기요, 우리 아빠 좀 찾아주세요. 아빠, 이제 나와도 돼.
Halloween 2 is back.
면도기에서 면도날은 날카로우며 섬세하죠. 그래서 쉴드가 필요합니다. 이중 윤활 밴드가 아래에 하나, 위에 또 하나. 그리고 시원한 효과까지. 오, 차가워. 질레트 프로실드 7. 쿨링을 더한 프로실드 7로 당신의 면도를 부드럽고 시원하게. 질레트 프로실드 7. 남자를 위한 최상의 선택. 프로실드 7과 프로실드로 최상의 면도를 경험해보세요.
그녀는 나의 적이다. 운명의 적과 만나다. 타임.
경민대학교에서 ASL 시즌4에 후원해 주셨다고 들었습니다. 올해 개교 50주년을 맞아서 새로 신설된 게임 콘텐츠과가 앞으로 e스포츠 발전에 큰 힘이 되어주시길 바랍니다. 경민대학교 화이팅!
그녀는 나의 적이다. 운명의 적과 만나다. 타임.
We're back. Game 2. It's moments away from starting. I gotta say, the fact that Rain was outmaneuvered. Rain's a pretty smart, kind of advanced. Everything he does is just advanced as far as StarCraft goes. The fact that Larva pulled the rug out from under him is going to be super tilting for him.
I don't think so.
Protoss can other times lose against Zerg early on, but not. They don't usually look like that.
Yeah.
Gotta emphasize that.
Yeah, drone drill is not super duper common, but it is super duper effective. So, you know, a strong win for Larva, but the thing is, that wasn't like Rain's fault, that loss necessarily, right?
No,
it was very tricky. There's a lot of different things it could have been. But the drone blocking the ramp, you know, it definitely kind of made him think, and then the drill came. He wasn't quite quick enough against that.
I feel like we need to come up with a term for this kind of cheese, because it's the kind of cheese that you can only do once. Like, let's say in an entire tournament, you can only do it once against a player. Because after that, they've downloaded that part of your play. They can counter it. But the fact that he did one of these one-timer cheeses it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I think overall, as far as who's gotten information, who's feeling good, Larva's big lead here.
Let's call it a Hail Boxer.
Hail Boxer?
Yeah. It's like a Hail Mary.
I like it, a Hail Boxer.
You got to give respect to the actual gods of StarCraft, right?
Yeah. We'll call it a Hail Boxer then.
There you go.
All right, game number 2 is going to be on Gladiator. Rain, still the veteran of tournament play. Currently, though, in StarCraft 1, the online Korean community refers to these guys as the Emperor of Online Play Zerg and the Emperor of Online Play Protoss, since they have yet to truly succeed in an offline match in StarCraft 1. I will still say, though, Rain, overall, because of his success in StarCraft 2, definitely has more experience.
Yeah.
If Larva wins here tonight, it's a big victory for him.
That's very, very true. Here we go, Tastes Gladiator, map number 2. Woo. See if Rain.
KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Gonna miss you like hell. I was wrong, I can tell. For the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I left with the pain.
Okay, so we got Rain in the bottom left, Larva in the upper right.
All right, Gladiator. Pizza slice map.
I like it, yeah.
But actually, when you look at it, it actually looks a lot more like, I figured this out yesterday, casting with Wolf at that OGN super match. It actually looks like, you know the game Asteroid?
Yeah.
It looks like all the best asteroid ships in the universe came and are like having a meeting here. They've all parked on Gladiator.
Yeah. What are we going to do about these asteroids?
It's a real problem. There's a lot of rocks in our space.
So, this is a map where, you know, originally all the maps in Brood War, you started out on the high ground or on the low ground with a low ground exit. But somewhere along the line, I think it started really in my head in Reverse Lost Temple, but I'm probably wrong. There's probably another map. But you start on maps like this, you can start out on the low ground. Requiem, thank you. You start out on the low ground, and then you got to kind of crawl your way up to your natural expansion. And it has a very different feel to it. Whenever you're on the low ground, you don't feel as comfortable if you're surrounded by high ground. So there's a lot of tricks you can do, and it kind of really forces you to try to go for a quick expand here. You're kind of non-functional as a Protoss player on one base early on.
Yeah, it's super tough.
Even though I think modern StarCraft 1 would say one base Protoss play is already sort of not the most viable way to play the matchup, even more so on a reverse ramp low ground map.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. Hard to hold those low ground ramps for sure. Now it looks like a Forge fast expand here by Rain can definitely slow down this hatchery a little bit with that probe. A pull first from Larva, so nothing too out of the ordinary.
So the probe's here to try to block, to try to buy time. As this expansion, getting it set up is crucial. We occasionally see pylon blocks here. You're allowed to do that if you're going for a Forge expand, but it looks like, in this case, Rain not going to do that. Oh, I'm sorry, the hatch does not go up yet.
He has plenty of minerals.
Yeah, I was surprised that he turned back around and went after the probe. So,
I think he's making... Okay, it's only 2 lengths, I was going to say. Like, maybe that's why he was stalling it out to afford some more Zerglings, but only a couple out there to chase that probe around. Of course, it's a Forge Fast Expand, so he doesn't have to be afraid of anything right now as long as he gets that probe.
So this is the Nexus on 14 Forge Fast Expand. There's a lot of different Forge Fast Expands, just like there's a lot of different Fast Expand builds for Zerg. But on this one, you're staying on one pylon for a long time, and you're trying to quickly get as much tech as possible. On this. You see the gateways coming down here. The gas will be taken shortly after this. And in some cases, the Nexus that finish is going to be really the big operating next pylon There's been so many different versions of the fast expand over time. It's so much based off, first of all, the positioning in the map, like what can you wall in, and how much space can you make, what you need to make off of 1 to 2 pylons, and then of course what's the intent of the fast expand. It's not just you need to get it up, it's like where do you want the game to go from here. Are you trying to get a lot of zealots to push out? Are you trying to tech up to a Corsair really fast to scout versus get a bunch of Corsairs to harass? There's so many variables at play, and it's important for the Zerg to try to scout that out and detect what that Protoss is going to be up to right away.
Well, you know, it takes a while for that tech to actually get out there, and most often it is just going to be a Corsair really as the first big move out. Well, I don't know if we should call that big move out, but the first thing that Protoss can do to actually screw with the Zerg after a Forge Fast expand. There are rare builds, and in fact we saw one. Who was it on Gold Rush that skipped that altogether and went Dragoon Reaver recently? And it was like a really cool build that he prepped, and then he just kind of got wrecked. It was like round of 24, I want to say it happened.
Yeah,
I
actually
cool.
can't remember. I know that game that you're talking about. The Dragoon Reaver variation is like, if you're a top tier Protoss, you should probably know how to do it. But if you're doing that every game,
oh no, it's not.
You're not going to succeed. But the fact that the Zerg has to be ready for that too.
If you're going to practice Forge Fast Expand, you're going to be going into Corsair. That's like the macro play, the standard play where you get your scouting intel, you can put some pressure on, and you can play out of that position. So definitely what you'd be expecting here. Important to note, at the Cybernetics core, air weapons attack is being upgraded. It's probably not air armor or Dragoon range, but air armor. He's getting ready.
He's getting armor. We haven't seen the air armor build in a long time, guys. But
he's making sure that his observers really can live through those Hydra snipes.
It's very important.
So that makes it live versus Scourge, right? No.
No. Oh, good catch here with the Lings coming out. So the Protoss tries to sneak one Zealot out in the hopes that he can ambush an expansion. Now he wants to try to get behind this mineral patch, but he's already taken too much damage, so he can't really utilize that position. So if he's getting the air weapons upgrade, we know he's not going to stop making Corsairs for a while. He's also, something to look for later on, he's going to lock one probe in behind his minerals in the main and attach that probe to the control group of Corsairs so they bunch up like Mutalisks. So it's harder to select them, and they group up. Much scarier to try to fight them that way. And he wants to basically get a lot of Zealots with the leg upgrade and the +1 attack upgrade and try to explode out onto the map and see if he can't shut down either this base that we see here or the Zerg's natural.
Now, Larva over here, just playing kind of like a somewhat standard macro opening. He's gotten the Spire early on. Sometimes you try, like a lot of times when we see this opener from Zerg, we'll see like 4 Scourge come out. And if they can catch a Corsair, that is an amazing position for Zerg to be in. But very oftentimes, it will just go from those 4 Scourge into something like a 5 Hatchery Hydra. It kind of like is a safety move for Zerg in a lot of ways. Just having the Spire forces a certain number of Corsairs out.
I really like what you're saying. It kind of works both ways, right? They both have to kind of respect the tech. But yeah, Spire, when you see it, if you're not used to watching StarCraft, can be misleading because you might think, oh, well, is he going for air? No, it's sort of just an additive that makes you buffered against most anything. Now, Scourge versus Corsair is a very volatile engagement because it can go wrong for either side very quickly. If the Corsairs are not being babysat by the Protoss player the entire time, you will lose all of them and then lose control of scouting and you know, anti-air, everything like that. If the Zerg's not paying attention, the Corsairs can win a Scourge fight and then kill all your Overlords, and then you're stuck in this loophole where you can't produce and they keep killing Overlords, and Protoss is getting bigger, and eventually Protoss crushes you with a ground attack.
Well, hopefully for Larva that is not how that goes down. You know, he did kind of push out the Scourge. It looks like he did make exactly 4 in this game. But not finding any damage. A lot of Corsairs out here, but of course they won't do too much against the Hydras. Now the speed is done, as well as +1 for these Zealots, going up towards a 3rd, but there's already enough Hydras and Lings out on the map that I can't see him really getting too much done.
Sure. So the Hydras, you know, this used to be really problematic for a lot of Zergs when Protoss has really had this mapped out. But yeah, the Zerg should basically be fine. And where we go from here is sort of the continuation in the tech. They're both going to tech up. The last thing that Protoss really needs to get eventually, and in the modern Brood War, the Robo is pretty late, but it is that Robo. Uh-oh, now this is what I was talking about. If you're not careful, you're going to lose a lot of those Corsairs. In a lot of the modern Brood War games, Protoss pushes out from here because the Zealots have forced Zerg to respect the ground threat here and make the Zerg turtle a little bit. Protoss will take a third base, ideally with a gas there. Whoa, nice snipe there.
Yeah,
and you'll get the Robo after the third base.
Well, DT out right now, trying to find any areas without Overlords, but Larva's defense so far is really quite fantastic. Let's see, that's the 6th hatch that he's adding right now. He's got a very solid drone count, so definitely can support that for the time being. Plenty of High Templars coming out as well, and as he gets that Psystorm, he can totally battle against these Hydras now, and it looks like both sides have just kind of gotten into as standard a macro game as really you can have at this point.
Yeah, this is exactly what modern PvZ in 2017 looks like. There is a point where Larva can actually try to engage the Protoss, and if Protoss doesn't storm perfectly, Protoss will lose. And that's sort of the last big hoorah from Zerg in this phase of the game. From here, after that, Zerg has to then set up for a late game, based off the build that Zerg chose.
They have to start choosing what they want to do, right? Like, are they going to go High Templars to snipe, Mutas to snipe the High Templars?
Right.
Will they just go straight into Lurkers to help really deal the splash damage to the Zealots? But it looks like we're getting there very, very quickly here from Hydra. God, my God. Called him Hydra. Looking at so many Hydras. But from Larva here, right? Like, he's not able to do any of these attacks. It's been solid defense. Rain is getting every last piece of the puzzle right now.
Also, Rain really stayed back. He was very, very slow. He does not want to get a third base, which I think was smart. He's just now getting that, but he got Robo as the third base started here, saying, okay, I'm almost to the point where my tech is done. But Larva's actually baiting out some Psystorms, and with this many Hydras, if he has a few botched Psystorms or gets a few Templars assassinated, the Hydras can still run him over. This is a very tense moment here for both players.
And I love the position here by Larva. Look at this. He's coming down from the high ground areas. The expansions are on low ground here, so this is a little bit tough for Rain to hold both of these areas.
Okay. The Zealots regrouping here. And I think basically Larva can't break Rain.
And just, I want to be really clear because because of backwards ramps and things like this, it can be a little bit deceiving what you're looking at. Basically, the light-colored terrain is the high ground. The kind of grayish terrain that you see are the ramps.
Oh yeah, that's
a really good
point.
And then the dark blue is the low ground. So like sometimes that's a little bit hard to see even in HD StarCraft. Brood War HD, as I like to call it, which has none of the words that StarCraft Remastered has in it. But,
it's so true.
But yeah, that's just so basically like that's why Larva was going in that way, right? He was coming from the high ground over and over.
Views like this, I almost wonder if Blizzard could like fix that a little bit, just detail-wise, because like I see it, but I've been playing for 20 years.
Yeah,
but to a normal viewer that might be deceiving. But yeah, Protoss has some. Okay, well, hold up. Now here on this high ground area, the Lurkers are now burrowing. But this may be an overextension by the Zerg. It seems like Rain's completely ready. And this is Rain doing what gave him all that success in StarCraft 2, is he's kind of countered everything and is now getting to a phase of the game where he has all the tools that the race Protoss has.
Yeah.
And Larva may end up getting flushed out as this game progresses. Like, it's 152 supply to 115, which is actually normal, by the way, for this matchup. Don't look at it like Zerg is floundering here. But Zerg has not made a dent in the Protoss, and Rain, being the powerful Protoss player who can always play a conservative game and probably win, is now coming out on the map, and it's going to be up to Larva to turtle. Although Larva also is setting up a counterattack, and I'm not clear if Rain is actually going to be ready for that if it hits him.
Well, it is a lot of units, and most of Rain's units across the map right now trying to hit in, and Rain just going to go ahead and pull the trigger. Moving forward here, a ton of Dragoons to help pick off all of these Lurkers as well.
Okay, now as long as this Observer stays alive and he splits the Zealots and the Dragoons correctly, he should be okay. Second Observer coming up here. I got to emphasize how hard it is to control an army when you're trying to engage those Lurkers all burrowed up there. And Rain's starting to back up. He's identified there's actually a lot of other Hydras on the map. Maybe he should try to fight that first.
Well, it's kind of funny how he has his army split. I like what Larva's trying to do, sending a group around and then utilizing high ground plus Lurkers to try to hold off any attacks here from Rain. But Larva right now, he's getting into that Hive Tech, very, very important for him. Already has that +2 attack on his Hydras as well.
Okay, a Psystorm comes down. Lurkers coming forward. Is this an overextension here? The angle that the Lurkers are at, they're really abusing that bottleneck of the high ground. And that's tough for Protoss to engage. Dragoons are basically the direct counter to Lurkers. They're kind of the last piece you add to a PvZ army.
Yeah.
You've got Templars, you've got Zealots, you've already made your Corsairs early on, then you fill the rest of that in with Dragoons to make sure you're kind of getting good engages everywhere. But it seems like Zerg could not properly actually engage the Protoss any further, but Larva's actually going for it, so let's see if I'm totally wrong here. Can he actually break the Protoss?
I don't think he's going to be broken here quite yet. I mean, there are a lot of Lurkers, but the amount of Dragoons that Rain has is really quite magnificent. Like, coming in from the high ground as well, these Lurkers aren't going to last very long.
I think he got all the observers.
Oh, he might have, yeah.
Hold on, there's one more coming up here. If he can keep this one alive.
Targeted down.
Oh, Scourge coming in! Oh!
I have never seen Dragoons save an observer from Scourge in my life.
Never happened in the history of the world.
They don't hit air,
yeah,
as far as I'm concerned. Now, it takes 3 Dragoon hits to kill a Scourge, and it just never happens. I don't know.
Basically, the one thing that the Zerg can always abuse throughout the entirety of the game is the fact that observers die fast.
Yeah.
They're slow. They they have no HP essentially.
Yeah.
Like anything.
You can upgrade their speed and their vision radius, but like
even
people
then,
generally don't spend money on it. Yeah, and the thing is, if you do that and they're like hotkeys in your army, sometimes they overfly and die too quickly. So they're very micro intensive against Zerg. It's actually one of the hardest parts of your army to micro against Zerg players.
Yeah, for sure. But that's how Larva's keeping Rain at bay here, because Rain's army, if we just had the two full-on armies fight, Reigns wins pretty much every time, but Larva's really abusing the fact that he can snipe observers, the fact that he can have lurkers on high ground, the fact that he can counterattack with Hydras if Rain moves too far out. It's all really, really smart what Larva's doing, but again, this is the burden now for Zerg, because Protoss survived that scary early game, and now it's the Zerg that's sort of on the run, that's like trying to hide and really abuse anything he can on the map and with the units that he has. Here we see he's coming up now. He's throwing down some Psystorms.
And Larva not able to snipe this observer whatsoever. This army just railing through everything that Larva has in the area. Morphing some more lurkers, more links coming up as well. That Psystorm on the left-hand side, just magnificent.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and I think actually Rain has effectively busted down the Zerg. He broke the lurker wall. He just needs to get a few attacking units up onto the high ground where those workers are. And I think actually Larva may have to tap out. See how Rain is just avoiding actually having to deal with the lurkers? Now that he's up here, these drones are super vulnerable, but it's also 3 macro hatches. This is a big part of the production engine for Zerg that's actually getting wiped out. And Larva basically has to save it or turtle this game into the most drawn-out game we've ever seen.
Yeah,
drones are being evacuated now. I do like the Dark Swarm, but there's enough Zealots there. Maybe with these lurkers. I actually did not realize there were lurker eggs there. I thought those were from
I thought those were regular eggs.
Yeah.
But with the lurkers, he actually can hold that. But the thing is, the rest of this army can go attack elsewhere. He's ran so many units in to try to save that base, as it did have 4 hatches at it, and it's one of his gas bases.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't have much left.
Okay. We have the hatchery about to go down. Now notice how Rain is like seesawing the fight. Once he sees that the lurkers are in a good spot for the Zerg, he doesn't try to deal with it. He just goes somewhere else. GG. We're even up 1-1 with Rain winning a proper PvZ, Larva winning the deceptive ZVP.
Well, this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier here, right? Like Rain, the defensive macro player, he got perfectly into a late game PvZ and then just utilized his skills there. Larva unable to gain an early advantage this game, having a hard time as it becomes just kind of normal in that late game.
Certainly, Rain is feeling confident after a game like that. Everything Rain threw at him, or Larva threw at him, Rain just wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
Get me to the point where I have Psystorm and Observers with Dragoon range, and I will crush you, Zerg. Larva is going to have to go into game number 3 and everything else from here on out deciding does he want to try to do another macro game against Rain? Possibly, I guess besides Bisu, the Bear Grylls of PvZ. The guy who can pretty much survive any situation and get to where he needs to be. Does Larva lean back on some crazy cheese here? Or does he try to, again, go head-to-head against this macro beast Rain? I don't know. We're going to find out. Coming up soon, Game 3. Don't go away.
큰일 났어. 이영호님이 나 뽑는다는 소문이 있어. 아니야, 이영호님은 나 뽑아. 나 1픽이야. 영호님 뭐 커피 좋아하시니? 근데 실력이 좋은데 그래? 지금 없어 지금. 내가 밥 주느라고 말해.
너무 안 먹을 것 같은데. 박준호가 와. 박준호.
배고프다. 뭐 저 먹어도 되는 거야? 예스! 저거 무슨 없잖아. 아니. 이거 봐, 어디서 계란?
유일하게 먹는 거.
안에 먹힌 거 좋아해.
이럴 바에 그냥 차라리 영호한테 부탁하지 뽑아달라고.
해봐요.
뽑아달라고?
영호가 어차피 너 맞아. 확정이라고 영호 마음속에 있는 너야.
아니에요.
너가 아니야, 너가
모든 걸 다 이런 표정입니다.
제동식 6링에 그거 건다. 6링이야, 봐봐. 진짜 무조건 6링이야.
아니야.
뭐 다른 한 마리 6링이다.
제동식 6링이라 건다. 제동식 이거 엄청 좋아해. 맨날 이것만 해, 제동식. 아이고.
진짜 영호. 야, 영호는 연습 더 해.
너 아까 생각하는 영호만랑 자신 있다며.
맞아, 아까 자신 있다며. 오늘 컨디션이 미친 것 같아요. 집에서 하는 것 같은데요. 영호가 오히려 저를 의식해야 되지 않나. 뮤탈 쓰는 사람한테는 발키리 빌드도 가끔 좋은 것 같은데. 아이, 너 뮤탈은 한 날개 하나 찢어졌다니까.
너 내가 먼저 보낸다.
자, 역전으로 갈 수 있는 마지막 게임입니다. 하지만 자, 이번이 문제입니다.
뮤탈스가
여기서
이런 친구가 무서운 친구야. 복싱 선수라 해도 믿지 않냐?
제재.
아, 너무 빡세네.
완전 이렇게 조용해. 10분 만에 패자조로 보내버리겠습니다.
시나리오가 제가 홍규를 이기고 다시 지더라도 또 최종적으로 또 홍규를 이기고.
원래 홍구 저런 스타일인데 너무 생각을 못했어요. 홍구가 잘 준비해서 당황했어요.
아 근데 1경기밖에 준비를 안 했어요. 진짜 영환이 형한테 지면 이거는 방송 접어야 된다라는 생각이고 다든지 진짜 하고 싶었거든요. 안 한 지 한 3년 된 것 같아요. 근데 저저만 나기는 좀 싫을 것 같아요. 내가 보여줘야 되는데 이제 계속 예선부터 저저만 했잖아요. 근데 뭐 추첨이니까 운에 맡겨야지. 추첨 어디가
맞아요. 이몽규 선수가 8강 코시에 통과합니다.
만세.
We're back. We're back. And it's time for game number 3 here. What do you think, Artosis? Is Larva going to try to do some more weird ZVP builds to try to play around like a super solid tempo expand macro Protoss?
Well, this is a really weird map that they both vetoed.
Oh yeah, we're going on Skull Desert.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Larva tries to pull a fast one here. I think that last game kind of showed that if we do go into macro games, Rain is a super force to be reckoned with here. And then, like, Larva, he's very smart, he's a very good player, but when we hit that macro scenario, he couldn't stand toe-to-toe against Rain. And this is something that happens a lot in StarCraft 1 that you don't really see in other RTS games, where it's like the better macro player, if it becomes a standard macro game, really wins. Like, they just make more units and move them better than you, and you're just like, oh, I feel like I can't do this even though I have a lot of bases.
This is why, no matter how good you get, the scariest people a lot of times are the really good macro ones, because even if you get them behind, they just they stay back and they sweat it out and outproduce you.
Exactly.
It's scary. We're going into game number 3, Larva versus Rain, a fight to get to the final 4 of the ASL.
KT Giga Internet, ASL Season 4.
Gotta make sure I go. I was wrong, I can tell, but the heart can be blind and frozen. Now I live with the pain every night till we take
Okay, Larva in the top and Rain in the center left. This map totally is a map that you can really beat up a Protoss player before they get to where they want to be with a finished tech tree.
Such a funny map, too, with those back passageways and everything.
Yeah, if we get a shot of that, we'll try to explain that to you guys, because it's actually super weird. Even for us who played for a long time, it's a very odd feature to have on a map like this, where you can either, to put it super basically, you can either close it off or open it up.
Yes. And speaking of which, because the map is rotationally symmetric,
right?
I think these positions for these two players favors Rain, because the close backdoor path comes out above the natural of Rain, whereas I feel like Larva, like if you're trying to cheese to win, maybe you want it to come out in his main base.
Yeah.
So if he was like the bottom right, that's where his back natural path would come out to, or the back path would come out to the back of Rain's main base rather than his nat. So I don't know, just something thrown out there. I don't know, Taste, what you think about that, but that's what I think about the app.
Thank you for sharing that, Artosis. Here's some clay. I'm going to mold my feelings about how I feel about this map.
My therapist said I should tell you during the cast.
I want you guys to know in Game 4, we're going to have a little camera at the bottom right side of the screen, and I'm going to just cast it through interpretive dance. So, it should be noted, and I don't really like citing stats that much as a caster, because I think a lot of times they can be misleading, but we haven't actually seen a Protoss win on this map against Zerg. We haven't had a ton of
Is that
games.
right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, actually, it showed up on the screen a little bit ago. That's how I know.
Jeez, you're good.
Yeah, that's.
Damn, you're really on top of things.
But
even looking at the screen of the game we're casting,
that's
you're a step above me, my friend.
But I think there is something to it in this case on this map. This seems like a tricky map for a Protoss to win in a, we're going to say the virtue nerd play. We're like, I will get all the proper tech. I will survive all rushes and get to the most powerful units and win. This is actually a tricky map for Protoss to play on. Now, that being said, Protoss have a lot of tricks against all the races they can do. Yeah. So we are going to see if that happens this time around. But so far, this build looks very ordinary. It's, again, the 13 to 14 supply, Nexus Forge, expand with a cannon and then a gateway.
So nothing crazy going on. A drone coming out to scout down towards the bottom. Oh, he's actually going to go in the back of the Protoss
Can't
base.
see it. We don't know what they're drawing. I think it's a radish. I didn't see what the drawing was.
Is that guy a pro? That guy there that was sitting in the suit?
I'm not sure. At that time, I wasn't looking at the monitor.
Vaguely familiar, but I'm not sure.
You know, let's just say he's a pro. Let's make it exciting. So as this game continues on, we want to see, okay, what's the Protoss tech going to be?
Look at that third base for Zerg. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that one, Tasis?
Well, this brings up a lot of unhappy feelings I have as a Protoss player, because what this is, Artosis, is when they take another natural to have a guaranteed main later. And this is one of the harder things for Protoss to deal with. It's not easy for the Zerg to pull off, though, either. Is you have to, it's a real balancing act for the Zerg. If Protoss gets the muscle in the early mid game to make sure you have enough defense at both your naturals, I should say. But I think now that Zergs, like, especially now, like in 2017, 2016, Zergs have gotten so good at the SimCity wall-ins. They're much better at holding off stuff.
Yeah.
It used to be you'd kind of throw buildings down willy-nilly. As long as they couldn't see it right away, it was fine. But Zergs have gotten this down to a science. As of the Protoss is, Zerg seems to be the race that kind of was the last one to really be forced to utilize this building placement.
Yeah, you're very right.
Comboing that with eggs, but because remember, Protosses weren't really using building placement until TVP got pretty nasty with vultures, where you had to start making walls. But we'll see if he can utilize that here. It depends on when he gets his hatches and Evo chambers up.
Lorraine going for that Corsair build once again. No big surprise there. Probes still being kept alive for a bit. A few more Lings actually popping out here. Not sure that he's going to be able to actually get any damage done as all. It should be filling the hole in that wall just momentarily.
Did you see, is the Cybernetics Corp getting +1?
It wasn't last time we saw it.
Okay.
So, don't know. Yeah, it's not still.
I believe he got +1 for air attack before he got this Citadel.
Yes, last game he did.
Yes. Okay. And so...
Absolutely tasteless.
Absolutely, my friend. He may not go for a ton of Corsairs. We'll have to see. We have seen some builds where they get 1 to 2 and just scout around.
I think that's what this is.
Yeah.
Like, he's getting 1 to 2, push a couple Overlords around, see what your opponent's doing, and play more aggressively. Like you said, Protoss have had a hard time here against Zerg thus far.
Yeah.
So to skimp a little bit on this way, like on Gladiator, he looked at that and said, okay, I can play a big macro game here. It seems as if he doesn't really feel that way this time, right? He's actually getting right into his Templar tech as well.
So if he does go that route, it should be a more robust ground push then. So the first Corsair's out, the second one's being made. Half of this cast is just selfishly for me, Artosis. I'm like, all right, how do I beat Zergs now?
Well, luckily this map is not in the map pool on the ladder right now. So
yeah, but as a concept overall, there's a lot of maps you end up that you're sort of the same problem overall. Is Zerg can be kind of scary on maps like this. We are seeing Larva really set up the hatchery placement so that he can turtle later on. And Zerg can be pretty much okay on 4 bases. I mean, obviously Zerg always want to have the option for more bases, but like with 4, you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
As a Zerg. And you could definitely get into your hive tech and start beating up the Protoss. Oh! Now he knew that was going to come, but he wanted to try, just to try to get that 1 extra Overlord, because even just getting 1 is pretty handy.
You know, it's kind of funny. Last game he did get the +1 quickly, and okay, he's actually getting it now. It looks like he just wanted to get a DT out very, very quickly, but this is good that he's kind of refilling his Corsair count, because I get scared, right? You lose a Corsair, and then you have like 1 or 2 only, and you don't have any upgrades, and then all of a sudden mutas come. You're going to lose that game very often as Protoss, but Rain kind of filling in his tech tree behind a little bit.
Okay, so the 2 DTs are coming through here.
Oh, that's super annoying.
Yeah.
Well, he can take this 3rd base? Okay, I see what's going on. With that cannon, I was like, is he trying to sneak in the back? The Zerglings are going to kill the Assimilator before he can. But just putting that there so that nothing can come through whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just a precaution.
Yeah.
And notice that he's not showing the Corsairs now. He showed those 2, but he's keeping these back here.
Yeah, this is really interesting because the Overlord scouted, no +1.
Yeah.
And the Corsair making, right? So, like, he could immediately tell the build was different from last game. You know, there's DTs out now, so he didn't really notice. Now he gets to see it, though. Oh, Rain, are you really...
I'm not sure if that was like him being really smart and trying to just show 2, or if he just wasn't watching and 2 got fished in there.
That was... you can't be losing your 2nd Corsair like that. Come on.
No. By the way, had Protoss seen this up until now?
I think this was his first time, but I'm not 100%.
So this is quite stressful, actually, for the Protoss, because you're like, oh, this game's completely different now. He needs to get rid of this hatchery. It's very important. That's why he didn't go and try to hide this in there to get drones later on. You actually have to do everything in your power to stop Zerg from getting a 4th hatch with a gas in it. It's hell on earth if they have a 4th hatch with a gas, because that's when Protoss just has to, like, hunker down and be like, all right, we're going to go for a really long game.
I believe you. You're talking to a Terran player here.
Yeah.
Man. They get a 4th gas. I'm like, oh
my God, yeah.
All the units.
Oh, my God, Raid.
Okay, DT pulls back for the time being. Where are those Corsairs right now? Are they still in the main base?
Yeah, he hasn't sent them out, man. I don't see him anywhere.
Well, I think he's a little bit nervous, right? He's already lost 2 Corsairs, 2 Scourge, and if he continues to lose them, there will be a Muta switch, and he will lose
Just out of curiosity, what is the actual right amount for like Corsairs when they one-shot Scourge? Do you know?
Okay, let's see. They do 5 a volley. right? They do 5 per attack, and Scourge are at 25 health. So 5 of them would one-shot a Scourge if they fired at the same time. Zerg units heal almost immediately upon first damage.
Yeah.
Which is why with Vultures you generally use 3 to pick off drones instead of 2. Kind of a fun fact for nerds. So yeah, so I would say it's 5, 6 to be safe.
By the way, these links coming in here, just a little interruption. Anything to keep the Protoss back at home, because Zerg is basically saying, "You haven't seen my final form."
Oh, I love that too. He actually gets a probe that's trapped.
Okay, wait, we got to point that out. That was in the Corsair control group. That's in the Corsairs bunch up and are harder to hit.
And now he actually...
Oh my god, this is so dirty.
Super funny.
This is
he
so
has to kill
funny.
his own pylon to kill these links, or they will kill that, because you can't get Archons out of here, so he makes all his Archons outside, and he hasn't made Dragoons yet. There's no warping mechanic. He just has to do it this way. And he's going to get it, man!
Oh, losing the Templar Archives is everything! Gonna get it in time!
Oh! 5 health! 5 health left! The crowd's going crazy! Everyone's like, whoa!
Psionic Storm is everything in this matchup. It's everything in this matchup. So losing that...
It's the sun and the moon, man. It's the stars. It's the tasteless.
It's everything, Artosis. And the fact that he doesn't... The fact that he... Oh, okay, there's like one ling's like, I got it, guys! Oh! The fact that... That was like a matter of a fourth of a second whether or not he got that in there is so huge. Because if Rain loses on this map because of that, that's just like, oh, well, we can't even factor in for that. Now he's coming in full force with his Corsairs. He supply blocks Zerg. And this is actually a pretty critical point because Zerg did sack just a few units to try to get that. He might try to go for a push. Now, Larva's skimped, by the way. Larva's skimped at his natural. This is one thing that you got to look for if you're a good Protoss player. Is did they skimp when they took the other natural? Did they really protect their own natural? Because a lot of times they have like 2 sunks and a lurker there, and you can just bust them down. And it looks like Rain hasn't detected that that's a bustable location. So Rain really devoting his attention to the bottom here. Larva might be able to escape this narrow window safely.
By the way, I'm a little bit unsure about that 5 volleys, because that looks like it's taking more than 5. Is Corsair damage explosive?
Listen, someone on Twitter figured this out for us. Sorry, we're just crowdsourcing this one.
Well, I'm a Terran, so I actually literally never play against Corsair, so it's a little bit... I know how much damage they do, but it could be a different damage type.
This is perfect what he's doing. The targeting to the hatch.
Until the Ling kills all his goons. That is a lot of sunks there, man.
He's just going to try. He's trying to break down the wall so the Zealots can come in. The Zealots are now coming in. And I think he might have busted him. I don't see an observer here. I wasn't really checking if there was a robo back there.
The flank is coming down, though. A couple Zealots do go back to kind of tank for the Dragoons for a moment. The flank not getting here quite quickly enough, it seems.
I think he's going to be okay. If the lurkers are still their Larva's fine. And this is something that's kind of tough, is you can get surrounded like this. I'm sorry, did we ever have observers coming out?
I haven't seen observers yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, which is kind of surprising if Rain tries to bust us down, because you know that the Zerg is going to rely on lurkers. And once lurkers, sunken colonies, and one spore colony or Toast's maxed out Protoss army, it's still a game of chance. You have no idea who's going to get through that.
It's very true.
Yeah.
I do love this style, by the way. Just the mass static D plus lurkers. Like, I'll never forget, like, Noni had one of the funniest quotes ever when he was talking about the hardest thing in the game is actually microing observers versus a spore.
It sounds weird, but it is sort of kind of true.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's an observer just screenshot off there. We saw the observatory. I believe there's an observer merging with that army. And so this is the moment. This is really one of the most important moments for Zerg to last through this phase. But, you know, Zerg turtled so much. Zerg never really... I don't even know if Zerg really gave a nod to the fact that there's a base in the upper left. Does he not even know? Does he not?
I think he knows. He
has
sees
to
the cannon
assume
there.
it, right? You
assume it.
You just assume
it for sure.
It's like the main. If Protoss never scouted that other main in the bottom right, you just assume.
Yeah.
He's got that.
I think for sure. Well, he saw the cannon come up, and he was killing the path. So, like, that can only mean, right, that Rain is getting ready to take that. And Rain is not a guy who would just sit around on 2 bases for all day.
See those 4 DTs?
HDs?
The 4 DTs, my friend. What did you say?
I saw 4 High Templars, and then you said, do you see those 4 DTs? So I said HTs?
HTs? No, DTs, my friend. There were 4 Dark Templars. They were at the front of Moon's Net. I was about to say he's going to go for a drop.
Oh,
with the 4 DTs. This is a great way to try to punish a guy who's turtling. As a Zerg, as so much resources and army are devoted to out here. You can still bust inside the main with Corsair DT and just like one hit the Hive and then the Spire and everything else.
Scariest move in the game right
he's
here.
like, look, these are 4 DTs. I can actually fight Hydras, okay? I don't care if you see me.
DT drop, man. Even late game against Zerg, it's good.
Yep, that's right. He needs to make sure that these Overlords are taken out. I think actually with a number of Hydras, I think actually the Overlord gets in there no matter what. So this is sort of a botched DT drop here. Larva's getting to the phase of the game where he actually could start producing at an insane amount. Hatcheries are just going down everywhere, my friend.
Well, he's definitely got his macro rolling here, but Rain is on 4 bases, so definitely don't want to be counting out his position here. Lots of Psystorm going to be coming in the next battle.
We don't have a Nidus set up yet, but you have to keep in mind these 2 bases, like the north base and the south base, have to be completely operational separate from each other. You have to accept the fact that Protoss kind of has just the whole center of the map.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty tricky until you get the Nidus network set up between these 2 locations to guarantee that they're both safe.
Look at
Larva's
this.
doing it. Oh
man.
my God. No such thing as overkill with that. Just get that one observer out of there. Okay.
I'm going to do it.
Just drop me out. I'll die instead of the shuttle. Even though I'm a living thing and the shuttle's a computer. So he's still been using these DTs.
6 kills, not bad.
You'd be surprised how often you're able to get away with this as a Protoss player. Is just having a DT. When it gets spotted in the Zerg's base, you just run away. The Zerg's probably, because there's so much APM intensive
so much going on.
Zerg doesn't realize that it's actually still alive. It's hidden in the corner, and then you come out. I've had games where my DTs come out like 6 times, and people are like, and like by the end of the game, like, you kept DT dropping me, and I'm like, that was the same DT.
That was one Dark
And then they unfriend me and log off and don't talk to me for a month because it's crazy how many times you get away with it. Oh, that's one way to do it.
I like that.
Yeah. Storm's surprisingly effective against eggs, by the way.
Well, armor doesn't work against spells.
Yep, that's right. Oh. Okay, so.
Well, look, Rain has like a big army and stuff still. He's still expanding. He's got a lot of great tech, decent upgrades. But he's unable to break anything. Like, this turtley play has been quite fantastic. And even though he's done some damage here and there, like, Larva's supply is starting to get pretty scary, okay? Like, sure, Rain is going to be maxing out soon. But something we talk about a lot in StarCraft 1 is how scary a maxed out Zerg is. Because that is something that it's a rare thing to see. You have to have like the ultimate unit composition for your race if you're playing against maxed out Zerg. Like, you have to be maxed on.
What was that? Did you hear that? Did a pop band
that was my
suddenly
theme music.
infiltrate the ASL?
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, so anyways, it's just as his supply starts to get really high, if he can mobilize his army together, it gets pretty scary.
Yeah. Shuttle speed incorporated in here. He's actually going to try to do a slow Reaver push.
I love it.
So this is actually really hard for the Protoss just because Reavers are...
Scourge are so good against Protoss, man. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's just such a good unit.
Well, it always connects, you know? Well, don't get too ambitious, Archon. Get back to where you... All right, never mind. Now, part of me wonders if you should have done this with the Dragoons earlier just against the Hydra Den. Just some small interruption. Now, as long as the Reavers are alive, he's okay. Now,
watch out, Archon, it dies. As long as the Reavers are alive, they die.
It dies, yeah.
Like, there's like, as long as Tasus doesn't have $1 million, he sits around looking around. Like, it's like, well, no, Tasus, you're not actually magic, you fool.
Oh, wait, hold on. Lakers are going to counterattack up here through the main.
Oh, God. That's a good
actually,
move.
You don't even have to drop, man. You can just walk right in. Zerg's actually bled through the bottom. We didn't really notice this while it was going on.
Yeah, that is a huge amount of units that are coming through.
This actually might cost Rain the game here. Well, this steady stream of units just going into the back. The Protoss' position is going to implode here.
Luckily, he has a few cannons and some High Templars, so he can hold on for a bit. But there is some important tech down here, right? He's got his Reaver tech, his core. Seems like he has enough, though.
I believe it's, yeah, pretty much all his important tech except for that Templar Archives with 5 HP. This is kind of funny. I was going to say earlier that most of the time, you know, if Zerg takes another natural and goes to a main, Protoss basically has to stretch it out, almost play single player. Rain did an opposite approach. He tried to actually push in, but a lot of people will just make cannons and expansions and try to get all the high-tech stuff and last that way. But I guess because of the way this map's shaped, you can carve out entry points through the edges. This is a totally different approach that Zerg can take that's completely unique to this map. He can just walk Lings forward here.
Yeah, this is really neat because it's kind of like reminiscent of late Ling drops against Protoss, which are so strong, but instead he just walked them over because Rain never... It's a very simple thing. If he had killed the 2 assimilators down there at some point, this never would have happened. This thing that we see that's beating him, it's like, how painful is that?
Yeah.
I'm sure this is one of the many reasons why he downvoted this map, that he vetoed it, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, no, I don't want to deal with that.
Oh, no,
you can drop without overlords, no thank you.
Yeah, it's all the reward without the risk for the Zerg, basically. Now, again, supplies, guys. Protoss maxed out, Zerg at 123. That's okay for Zerg.
Yeah,
Protoss can still lose like this.
Oh, and now he's pulling a Zerg.
Yeah, he's like, you can play at this game. Lings, attack.
3-1 Zealots against 1-3 Zerglings. Jeez, these two. Match made in heaven.
He does actually need to take this hatch out for real and then take out the assimilators. You see him trying to glitch the Zealots through the hatch.
That's kind of funny.
Now, this whole game has been Protoss trying to breach a Zerg's position. If at any moment that was actually truly breached, the game would have ended and Protoss would have won. But Larva is a survivor.
And I love these plagues. Look at that. The plague plus the Scourge once again taking out observers.
Yeah.
So when you don't have your observers there, man, like you have to storm the lurkers basically. Oh, look at this. StarCraft 1 is such a funny game. These guys are doing so much right now. It's like the lurkers just walk past the army.
This is the only RTS game where you'll really see a moment where it looks like the worst play ever, and I'm like, no, these guys are the best in the world. There's so much going on here. You have no idea.
A lot of newer people that you watch be like, well, I wouldn't let that happen. It's like, well, that's why you're not good.
Yeah.
It's actually because you wouldn't let that happen because you'd be micromanaging the wrong things.
Yeah, exactly.
Killing those 2 lurkers is pretty inconsequential in this game at the moment.
Exactly, compared to everything else he had to do.
Yeah.
Now, Zerg is getting... It's kind of a funny position because the center of the map is the Protoss. Protoss says the edges of the map are really the Zerg.
Yeah.
But the Zerg is basically now acquired... What am I seeing? Why is a Ling attacking an egg?
The egg will live. It will hatch.
Be okay.
Even if there's an Ultra in there, that egg has enough armor against a +1 Ling.
But keep in mind, the Zerg's acquired all the The Zerg's acquired all the expansions. There's so many bad things happening. I'm never going to finish this thought. The Zerg's taken all the expansions that the Zerg can basically have this game. Protoss is taking all the expansions the Protoss can basically have this game.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering about the 2 bases that are in the lower middle that aren't taken, that's not really anybody's.
Yeah, no, the 2 bases not taken, like, literally, Protoss can hit those way too easily.
That's like a national park, okay? Yeah. That's like kind of for everybody. Okay?
No one has ever taken
That's
those.
for you guys at home too, okay? But nobody can really own it.
Yeah.
All right.
You can visit it.
But
you can't mine its resources.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that's right. It is protected land there.
And they're set to explode at some point. They're 100,000 years overdue and will destroy the map when they finally do.
That's right. So, this plaguing stuff, this is really the icing on the cake here as far as ZVP goes. When you get to late game, just keep sending defilers out and plaguing the army because Protoss is just going to have all their units dropped to low HP and be softened up. It's not as impactful as like the same way it is in a ZDT, where it's like a few plagues and 1 lurker spine kills an entire Terran army.
Yeah, because of course it doesn't hurt the shields. So like for instance, it's comical against Archons. It can do a maximum of 9 damage.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. It does its damage in 3s, by the way, which is, you'll see Protoss units with between 3 and 1 hit points.
That's right.
Left over, because it can't actually kill anything. Well, except Terran buildings, because they burn themselves down.
This is true.
But yeah, it can only do its damage in little chunks. But anyways, it's a good move. You know, it's just kind of like over time gaining some value, doing some damage to these units that doesn't heal.
Yeah, you're basically permanently softening up the Protoss' army. It's a really good way to play the game.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. If you're going to get to this late phase of the game, you kind of got to do it. Now, Protoss may try to exhaust the Zerg, and the Zerg may try to exhaust the Protoss as far as resources go. And I'm not sure who really truly wins in the long run with that. Well, the Reaver push that you're seeing here, okay, well, it's already being highlighted by what we're seeing right now. It's really hard to push Reavers down.
Yes.
It's easy to push Reavers to the right or to the left, but down, not so much, my friends.
No, they actually glitch out when they're attacking down a lot of the time and walk into like spine range and stuff. By the way, both sides were maxed out right at the beginning of that, so that's really cool to see. And as the Zerg maxes out, that's when I feel like Protoss really has to have their absolute ultimate army, which consists of lots of Archon, Storm, Zealot, Dragoon, but also the Reavers should be in there at that point as well, because you basically need to have like this absolutely nasty army where you have the splash damage that clears everything. And that's kind of what we see here out of Rain.
There's no Overlord.
Oh, by the way, Tastes, for supreme late game, big economy, PvZ.
Yeah.
Have you seen anyone using Arbiters at all in the recent years? Because we saw that just a little tiny bit way back.
Not that I can think of.
I haven't seen
not in a way that I would look back and be like, oh, that's the way to do it. I personally have messed with Arbiters a little bit, and they don't hurt. I think the question is, what is Zerg trying to do? If Zerg's going like mass ultras or something,
yeah, stasis
that's pretty cool.
Pretty
but
nasty.
You know, sometimes things like Dark Archons are actually better.
Yeah.
You know, if you're running around with a Dark Archon map and you just feed back the Defilers, it seemed to be more popular outside of Korea, but I never felt like there was a reason why you wouldn't want to have one.
Yeah, I like a Dark Archon, even Maelstrom.
Yeah, Maelstrom's okay.
It can be a useful thing occasionally.
But no, I mean, our Arbiters...
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone in the modern day, but I have seen them occasionally in the past.
Yeah.
Look at this drop!
Well, this is definitely one way to do it. As he's saying, we've gotten far enough into this game, and this is...
Oh, he's going Arbiter.
Go.
He's going Arbiter,
Tasteless. Artosis. This just cues in very nicely. Now, we have a huge link drop. Let's see how much damage this can actually do, because Rain seems to basically be prepared for this.
Yeah, those cannons plus the High Templars.
You basically have to have cannons when you're doing this. Because one drop in the main can kill off your entire tech. In fact, you know, again, Rain is sort of the guy that can outlast anybody.
And I love, by the way, because we have kept talking about Rain and how great he is at getting into the late game and how strong he is defensively, how strong he is in late game scenarios. And I just love the fact that he's bringing out this style that we haven't really seen recently, which is having Arbiters mixed in. This is really the only other unit you would even consider to use against Zerg.
Here's why I think he's getting the Arbiter Tosis, because when you were asking me initially, I'm so used to PvT with Arbiters, right?
Yeah,
because you don't really get in PvP or anything. But I'm thinking Stasis, I'm thinking Cloak, and it's like, yeah, well, they're going to have Overlords, and Stasis is okay, but I guess only if they're getting Ultralists or something. But Recall, it's hard to get an Arbiter with Scourge, first of all. They're pretty tanky.
Yeah.
And there's only going to be 1 and 2 important locations on this map for Zerg. Zerg ain't expanding into the middle, my friend. If he can get one big recall and basically stop Zerg from taking that, because Protoss is going to be sitting maxed out for more of this game than the Zerg really is, Zerg is constantly producing, so his minerals are always low.
Sure.
If he can actually just recall into a location that would otherwise be too hard to push into, he can possibly win this game. Now, again, we have Rain. This may be a little bit too bold, but he's actually going to try to full-on push in here. Let's see if he has the storms from the heavens. Maybe he actually will break this.
He has so many storms, he's just double storming lurkers at this point.
I don't believe he even has vision of these lurkers. He's just like, where are the spines coming from?
Oh! That was a beautiful storm right there. But yeah, he's literally just double storming. Like, one storm barely doesn't kill a lurker, so throwing 2 down, you erase him real quick. But he lost a lot of his units right there as well. Finally, the Arbiter is out.
Again, Arbiter's such an odd pick for this late phase of the game, but we're truly into the late parts of PvZ here.
Yeah, well, this is where he's literally Rain sat there and he's like, is there anything else that I want here? And arbiter came to mind for him.
It's kind of funny because like TVZ super late game is like this insane fight where everything is so explosive and each battle can go a totally different way. A PVZ late game fight is kind of like the final 20 minutes of an 80s or early 90s action movie where the two guys are fighting. You know when they're like super buff and they don't have their shirts on?
Oh, yeah.
And well, the way they're fighting is actually the way that nobody who's ever fought would really fight because you get your ass kicked if you fought like that. But, you know, they're both punching. They're both just constantly landing blows to the face and they're covered with blood. And, you know, basically one guy kind of just gets more angry at the end. Like the protagonist is like, even though he's almost dead, he's like, I'm really pissed. And he just kind of
he remembers like you killed his sensei or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And it sort of just actually outdoes the other guy. It's a lot of blows, but a lot of hard hits that just it keeps happening over and over. It's not like TVZ where it's like, all the Zerg stuff died, but then all the Terran stuff died. All right. He's like, I'll get rid of your Scourge by sending a shuttle in here and storming that.
By the way, the amount of Scourge on the map has gone up dramatically since he saw the Arbiter tech. He just kind of has them sitting around in areas where Arbiters might fly through.
Yeah. Note the gas banked up here for Larva, by the way. We've always had about 2K gas for him. I don't know if it's going to just kind of stay floating at that. Larva never really wanted to go to the Ultra Tech, which I think is actually okay for the way this game's turned out.
I mean, when you hit that Ultra Tech, right, like it does well. It lives through a lot of Psy Storms and stuff like that, but with Dragoon, Reaver, and Archon, it's like, that's kind of...
You know, since we are seeing this really unusual Arbiter Tech, it's worth noting that, you know, Terran, they actually do have a response to hallucinated Arbiters. You know, when you see a Protoss, well, you can at least EMP the group. Now, Zerg, when you have a bunch of Arbiters coming across the map, there's actually not a lot Zerg can do about it. They can't. There's no easy way for them to just kill off every single Arbiter cost effectively. Now we're going to see that first recall, and this is going to knock out the Hive.
Yeah,
okay.
Spire as well. This is kind of nice.
And
the spawning pool is there, and I mean, Zergling's definitely one of the most important late game units.
Yeah, and I think the second Arbiter is there for the recall back.
I like it.
So he just sort of blots out one location. Yeah, and the Zerg can't really do much about it.
In and out. In and out burger.
That's there you go, my friend. This is a joke that was from Trev. This is an inside joke that you guys are never going to know about. But it's really dumb. But
it's one of the funniest things Taste has ever said was in and out burger. It was just amazing.
What was the context of that joke?
Well, it was
like
walking
something
by a bunch of bikes in California, and like some of them were like locked or something, and some of them were unlocked or something. Like you're like in, out, in, out, in and out burger.
We were like super jet lagged, and I don't know.
It was a normal quality Taste joke in my opinion. Whoa!
That's one way to do it.
That was sick tryharding to kill those drones. Oh my god! He like flies an Arbiter over the corpses and recalls the rest of his army with a probe to make cannons there. God, Rain, chill.
I think Rain wins this in the long run, man. Yeah. This is just a very steady way to wipe the Zerg out. Because of course the question is, well, where do you recall next? Wow, look at that. He's going to take that base over there.
I don't recall.
So I guess the next place he recalls to is the center right. Am I correct about this?
I mean, probably. I think it's okay for him to just crush an area as well. Removing areas can be powerful.
Sure. Well, any tech that's over there.
Oh, there's Reavers in there, isn't there?
I'm still cracking up at the part. Hold on, let's see if he actually gets this.
Oh!
This guy's
so sick.
The shuttle's like, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I'm still laughing at that. What you said earlier, I don't think you would call yourself, but like when the recall happened to the main, you're like, oh, his spawning pool's there. Look at that. I'm thinking like Ertosis, it's always there.
Yeah,
it's never not been there before.
Oh, I got the spawning pool.
There's no way to play the game and win without the spawning pool.
Build it my natural.
Always being there. It's impossible.
Yeah. Oh man,
that's when I was smiling super hard at you earlier, Ed. Well,
should have made a second one somewhere else as third, so you could get speed and adrenaline at the same time.
Exactly. Okay, so Zerg has realized that he actually has to do something because
He's actually got more supply right now than Rain, so this could be doable. The Reavers and Psystorms just being massively helpful here.
Yeah, Overlord's coming in overhead. Again, it's hard to get a maxed out Zerg army over here. And Zerg's going to get this. Nicely done. You know, I think as much as Rain has played the long, drawn-out macro game, here's the problem. He burnt a lot of units trying to bust down his opponent earlier on. Nice storm drops. And Artosis, Zerg has bigger supply, which is very scary for the Protoss. The only place Protoss is mining are the locations in the middle of the map.
Oh boy.
Larva might have just totally reversed this game.
Well, Larva coming over to kill this base. That one doesn't really matter too much.
The only mining base is the top center one? Or is it? No, bottom center sort of
but
mining.
Zerg is only mining really a little bit as well.
True, but
there is a possibility he can just kind of turtle this out. I don't know how much splash he really has left. The amount of shuttles I've seen flying and kill like 2 drones.
Oh, he's coming in. Here we go. You know, I don't know if he has enough. Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah.
The Templars doing the tango there.
Those Templars were like Terran SCVs making a depot right there, man.
Yeah.
They were like daring the Zerglings to kill him.
Well, now, this is one of these games where you really get to see Brood War games. Late game are always a unique snowflake. You'll never have the same late game ever in this game. Protoss nearly mined out of the top, so the more mineral-rich location is actually the lower, kind of isolated base here for Rain. Larva has actually expanded out, by the way, to those locations, the national park locations we were talking about that weren't going to be anybody's. It looks like Rain had sort of
well, this is a protest DT. He doesn't want a pipeline there,
That's
man.
right. Taken out immediately. And it seems like Rain's going to try to push out. Neither of these guys are going to be clear on where the other person's supply is, by the way.
Yeah.
When
the only reason we have any idea is because we're playing Brood War HD and we got it in the top right.
That's right. This was the old school cast. We just sort of had to feel it out.
I'd be like, we would not know who's head of the supply realistically.
Yeah. It'd be purely speculative. Now here comes Rain's attempt to equalize this game. He's going to try to break down the lurkers that are burrowed up over here. Don't know if he's going to be able to get in there.
I love this Arbiter being in here, by the way, because it adds this extra level of micro where you got to keep your Overlords up here as well. Otherwise, you can just kind of retreat into the cloakness. Oh, or do that.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. Plague is actually a great response to this.
Yeah. Plague reveals and Snare reveals as well.
Where is the majority of the tech been remade at? I'm actually not clear on that.
I don't think he remade most of it.
Uh-oh, here we go. Another big recall. Boom.
Yeah, this is one of the last mining bases here for Zerg.
Yeah, getting the Reavers over here. That's going to make it really hard for any army parading in to actually take this out.
Well, you give up this location, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, well, apparently Larva says no. He's actually coming up now.
Oh, wow. I'm kind of surprised. Single file links coming in here.
Guys!
But how many Scarabs does he have left? He's actually on that low point of Scarabs now where you have 0 and it takes a while to build.
I think he should be okay. These are Reavers against Lings. You're kind
What
of...
about the Archon, though?
Yeah. I guess he might be able to take this out. It's not going to be cost efficient for Zerg. That much is for sure. Look at this.
Oh! I love that pickup.
Yeah, me too. See ya. So this hatch should go down here. Mind out. Let's take a look down here. Okay, man, so Protoss actually has to get a base up now because Larva's still mining from that location. Larva actually is the only that base. That's all he needs. Artosis. He's a Zerg player.
It's almost time to start mining the minerals that are near the double geysers that let you in other bases. Like, there is almost nothing left.
Yeah. Okay, so
Rain is down to like 50 minerals right now.
Not this.
Okay, well.
Okay, Templar. Oh! This is like not even good.
No, it's not. He keeps
I'm like,
doing
just turn
this.
that thing around. This is not.
Yeah.
Those are Templars. Like, don't worry about getting a Scourge.
Well, a Zealot going to go to the bottom right to harass, I guess, but there's really not much there.
Okay, so Rain actually has to make this work. I can't believe Larva's going to outlast Rain.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I don't believe that you're going to be able to win from here. He should not have been trying to break the Zerg.
Do you think that there were too many High Templar drops to get drones? Because like every time the shell got picked off, every time the High Templars died.
Actually, here's what I think, Artos, is I think that the real problem was Protoss kept trying to break the Turtle Zerg.
Yeah.
If you do that too many times, you end up losing a lot. You got to sort of play around it, because otherwise you're playing exactly into what the Zerg wants to do. GG.
Oh, sick game here by Larva and by Rain. Really showing, you know, the supreme late game of these races. And this is the map they both wanted to veto.
By the way, a game like that is one where you normally want to have a long break after, you know. You play a game like that, you're not like, let's queue up another one.
Yeah.
You go on a walk for 20 minutes.
Well, especially for Rain here.
You take a shower, you know. You go get some food. Make yourself a pot of coffee.
I don't think he has time for any of that, though. I think it's going to be like
you
a
play that game,
break.
it's late at night, my friend. You don't go to bed after a game like that.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no. One of the most exhausting things about StarCraft 1 is a game like that, and that is right square in the middle.
Yeah.
By the way, Larva 2-1 against Rain. Larva is really coming into his own.
Yeah, they're 1-1 in macro games, and of course that brilliant cheese, the drone drill in game number 1. So
yeah,
Larva doing a great job.
Okay.
Next map is Fighting Spirit, actually.
Oh, that's right.
What do you think about that for our PVC coming up?
Well, I've seen it before.
You've seen
Fighting Spirit.
I don't know the map.
I don't think we have enough Fighting Spirit. Artosis. Oh well.
You know what I learned yesterday?
What?
For pro recorded games, there are over 1,000 on Fighting Spirit.
I'm surprised it wasn't 10,000 to be totally honest. It feels like it's been more than 1,000.
I'm surprised it wasn't 20,000.
Fighting Spirit is, whenever people complain about Python for a second, I just push them down the stairs while saying Fighting Spirit. I'm so tired of this map, for God's sake. We'll be right back here in game number 4.
Come here to the stairs, I have something to tell you.
Fighting Spirit.
I fucked up the deadline. Time after time after time, and stepped on a landmine. But I'll be fine, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. On the outside, I'm trying to pretend to be.
그녀는 나의 적이다. 운명의 적과 만나다. 다행.
면도기에서 면도날은 날카로우며 섬세하죠. 그래서 쉴드가 필요합니다. 이중 윤활 밴드가 아래에 하나, 위에 또 하나. 그리고 시원한 효과까지. 오, 차가워. 질레트 프로실드 7. 쿨링을 더한 프로실드 7로 당신의 면도를 부드럽고 시원하게. 질레트 프로실드 7. 남자를 위한 최상의 선택. 프로실드 7과 프로실드로 최상의 면도를 경험해보세요.
그녀는 나의 적이다. 운명의 적과 만나다. 다행.
우진아, 나 가영이. 우리 사이 그냥 친구라고 생각했는데 요즘 네가 다르게 느껴져. 만약에 말이야, 내가 널 좋아한다고 말해버리면 어떻게 될까? 닿을 듯 닿지 않는 우리 사이는 검색창에 레진 코믹스를 검색하세요.
경민대학교에서 ASL 시즌4에 후원해 주셨다고 들었습니다. 올해 개교 50주년을 맞아서 새로 신설된 게임 콘텐츠과가 앞으로 e스포츠 발전에 큰 힘이 되어주시길 바랍니다. 경민대학교 화이팅!
The challenge begins.
You might have thought there were a bunch of owls in here. You were wrong. People are wooing because we're having a great best of 5 tonight. Larva, so far 2-1 against Rain. I'm really impressed because Larva has done the full gamut. He outsmarted Rain in game number 1, playing around the map, the player, the matchup, everything. And then in game 3, Larva went to that supreme late game.
Yeah.
And guys, late game StarCraft Brood War, there is nothing like it in any other game ever for the rest of time.
It's so weird.
It's so clunky, it's so hard. Everything has to be handled unique to that situation in that game. And he did it. He held his own against Rain. I think part of it was Rain's fault. I think Rain was too confident in his ability to bust.
Yeah.
Another natural. He sort of played into what the Zerg really wants to do instead of playing around it.
Yeah, the defensive capabilities of Larva were just immense. Like Lurker, Spore, Spine, plus SimCity buildings in front of them.
Yeah. Zergs have gotten really good at it. It's crazy compared to how Zergs have looked historically. They've gotten so dirty with these turtling plays.
Yeah.
I love it. You can really see they're making the Protoss work to get anywhere. You don't care how tough and scary a Protoss army is head-to-head because you don't have to fight it head-to-head. Just basically, Rain's marching with his triangle-cornered hat and his musket out there while people are playing drums, but Larva's in the trees shooting them down.
Oh my. That was a guerrilla Zerg tactic right there.
Well,
actually, it feels more like Rain was trying to bust down a cat. He was like the Monty Python Knights that just attack the castle and hit it with their swords.
Yeah.
I think that's closer.
Well said. I'm so excited for Fighting Spirit, a map I haven't seen enough. I'm not sure what it looks like. No, I'm kidding. This is the map everybody plays. Get your build order notebooks out.
What about Python?
They push you down the stairs now.
ASL Season 4.
Quiet Artoses. In the upper right is Rain, in the upper left is Larva. Fantastic beard, by the way.
Yeah, he's a pretty handsome guy.
Yeah, sharp-looking dude. So, fighting map is kind of...
Fighting map?
Did I just say that? Oh,
you said fighting map.
Let's just start calling it that, fighting map.
Fighting map? Actually, I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm even bored of its name, to be honest.
Yeah, Fighting Spirit. Let's call it Fighting Map.
Actually, I learned yesterday that actually the Fighting Spirit as a translation, it's like not a direct translation of Tuhun, or Tohun, whatever the name of the map actually is. It's a very hard to translate concept. And Fighting Spirit's just kind of the best they came up with.
Let's make it as bad as it can be. Fighting Map.
Fighting Map. I agree. Look, I think that you're the greatest map namer.
Thank you.
Of all time. Okay, there are great map makers out there, and there are great namers out there. But map namers, Tasteless, you're the one. Actually, it's you. Gold Rush. Gold Rush? No. Skull Desert. Holy crap. Skull Desert.
Well, I didn't ask for these powers. But
I would tune in if I was like a League of Legends guy. I'd be like, wow, Skull Desert, that sounds cool.
For sure.
I wonder where the dragon is on that map. Probably the same place it always is. And I would tune in and find out that no, there's no dragon.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, fighting map. So
Where's
tell
the
us about
jungle?
fighting map.
Show me the jungle. I gotta put my warts down.
Yeah. Tell me about fighting map, Tasteless.
Fighting map. This is, if you guys we got new people that are watching. This is the map you're going to be playing on to learn, for sure.
Yes.
This is sort of the most let's macro map.
Yes.
Not a lot of spots on the map where you can do tricky stuff, although there's always somewhere you can try to be a little bit crazy. Okay, hold on. This is cool. There's no drone.
Yeah,
oh, well, this just didn't go correctly at all. What? Okay.
It was a good idea, in theory.
The idea is that you have the drone hidden down there. The probe goes past it and goes in the main, but then it...
And then you get your hatch.
Okay, so there was a misplay here. Whatever. I'm liking this build here by Rain for his fast expand.
Yeah.
I'm copying this one. He just got Forge on 13, waits till he scouts him, and then he kind of goes from there. Like in this case, he says, oh, it's going to be quick lings because he doesn't have a hatch there, so I guess I better get a cannon back here.
Yeah, and
then he makes a pylon to keep the lings back there and keep the hatchery from coming up. Now, this is where it gets a little bit weird because you want to get the Nexus up, but you also know that there are lings that are going to try to get in your main. He's going to have to pull some probes to block this off.
And of course, we should mention, part of the reason he knew this is a double probe scout.
That's right.
So it throws on that gateway and can block it with the probe then because of that. Now, Larva is once again looking like he's going to take another natural to another main. So he wants to remain on Tesa's naughty list.
Yo, let me tell you something. If I was Santa Claus, this guy's getting a lump of coal, man.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a way to play against this that I think a lot of people that are even super hardcore into RTS wouldn't know the player that well, but Spunky, who was the best Command & Conquer Red Alert player in the world, and then was a very good StarCraft Brood War player, but this is a long time ago, but he was showing me like a way that people were starting to respond to this, although it doesn't seem to have caught on as much, but I think it's pretty smart. Is the way he said it, he said, once you see them take the other natural, you play single player. And what that is that you just keep teching up and expanding and making some cannons because the odds of the Zerg actually trying to really attack you when they have another natural are lower.
Yes.
And he actually showed me a couple games where he did it, and I was amazed at how well it worked. However, I've seen players like Jadong who take another natural and then keep attacking. So it's almost like a blind response to that, but you try to expand up and
I like it because it's and Smuggy was definitely a very smart guy. But like the fundamentals of RTS, that kind of you can get a big whiff of them with that statement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where, like your opponent, because he's so far away from himself, has to do some SimCity maneuvers and be on a defensive stance, generally speaking, with a move like that. And even, you can even do things like feign pressure against that. But yeah, a lot of that makes sense because you know what his plan is. His plan is to get that fourth gas.
Yeah.
And if you can kind of play slightly more greedy than him,
exactly.
That is kind of what you're looking for. That's like that's kind of RTS in a nutshell. If you can be just slightly more greedy than your opponent, that is the key to victory. A lot more greedy, you die. And a little less greedy, your opponent's ahead. And you want to be just slightly more greedy.
And it doesn't usually work the other way around about being slightly more aggressive. It's like, no, it's always be slightly greedier. And you're usually going to be in good shape. Now, let's see how Rain responds on this map to this, because this is a map where I think it's going to be a little bit easier to if he wants to try the bust again, where he's basically playing by the Zerg's rules. Maybe it'll work out better, because I highly doubt on Skull Desert that honestly there's been that many games that Rain's been able to play on that where he's gotten in that position.
Yeah.
You know? There was a lot more instinct involved in that.
Very true, whereas on Fighting Map, he's been playing this for years.
Arto says, I'm going to break the fourth wall. Is there Kleenex over here? Is there Kleenex by you? We don't have any up here?
No.
All right. I will blow my nose after the cast. We have Zealots coming up. And this is a good split, by the way.
Yeah.
He sent a few Zealots down here to the bottom. And this is a good early response to them trying to take another natural. The problem is the travel distance, especially in these spots, is pretty long. Wow, really glitching that Zealot out.
Very good micro coming out of Larva here. Nice management, but this Zealot in the main base actually doing some serious damage.
Oh, are you serious?
Whoa! That drone pulled down to block?
That was insanely good. He does get that one, Overlord. He's continuing to come through with more Corsairs.
That was crazy. That was crazy tasteless.
I know. I mean, well, hold up. Let's see if he loses the Corsair to the Scourge like last time. Remember the last game?
Yep.
Okay, no, he's going to get out.
Same build as Rain, by the way.
Yeah, Rain is
the
just
previous game.
Rain
like
is
the quicker Citadel and Temple Archives.
He's an algorithm nerd.
Algorithm nerd.
Yeah. He just gets you. He starts out at one basic point, and then he evaluates, and his rain algorithm just shoots off in various directions.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see if he gets air attack at the same time around here as well.
Yeah, he is actually.
He's already getting it now?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Everything's kind of lined up.
So Evo Chamber.
The SimCity does begin.
That's right. The turtling does begin. Now, last game, guys, Rain. The last game, Rain actually tried to break down the SimCity Turtle Zerg, and I was saying I think it might be better to do the other way, but let's see if I'm wrong. Let's see if he actually tries a different approach here and tries instead to do something else. Gosh, it's not looking like it, though, is it, Artosis?
No.
At least so far.
Looks pretty much the same. Oh, my God. Great Scourge catching right there. And with the way that he's flying these Scourge upright, he knows that those Corsairs have to turn to go home.
He's trying to basically get this out of here. And I should be able to get back home over here.
Well, he's trying to head him off, right? This is just a giant micro battle because he can right-click with that one Scourge, so he always has vision, and then the other ones just kind of mirror where the Corsairs are going. And, like, Rain will do his work for him because Rain will have to go home to save these, and the Scourge, hopefully, on Larva's end, are waiting for him in that path. Oh, that was a sick move by Rain, but he can't turn north. No. Or he can turn north slightly.
He's trying to get home. It's very important these Corsairs stay alive. You have to keep in mind they're still macroing while this is going on. Okay, he gets one. Again, if you keep the Corsair count lower, Protoss can't scout effectively, and Protoss really need to be scouting the Zerg the whole time.
And if you force them to continually make Corsairs, that is going to be less of everything else, right? That's going to be less Archons, less High Templars, all this stuff. And if you just aren't making the Corsairs, then suddenly the Mutalisk tech switch can be very powerful. You can pick off quite a few of the High Templars, and that's where things can get very, very messy.
Yeah, a muted tech switch, you can lose a lot of games where all of a sudden, I was not prepared for that at all. That's one of the reasons why we see these Corsairs always being made. It's funny because we don't really see a lot of mutas often in PvZ, but that's because Protoss have sort of zoned that option out by going for mass Corsairs and trying to control the game that way.
Few Lings coming up here. The Zealots will push those back as he's taking his third base. A little bit of pressure here by Rain, unable to find any damage, and that's going to be the case. This is so much like that previous game. Larva has his fourth base up. He's starting to take gas number 3 right now. Still flying around a bit with these Scourge.
Okay, so Protoss is moving down now. He actually might get a bust here. If he can get the Zealots to slip through, the Archon unfortunately blocking him. Oh, dude, he's going to get the Archon.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's really bad.
Yeah, that was a little glitch out when he was running backwards there. The Archon went into that little nook. Well, he's like, maybe the bridge is over here. No, the bridge was not over there, Archon.
It's kind of sad, but it's true. Is you can always spend a little bit more time on APM somewhere. Like, he probably could have saved that Archon, but he was so split between doing so many things. But it looks like Protoss is going to get to where Protoss wants to be. If you get a third base with a gas, you're on the course, on the right course, on the right course. Or the right course, as they say. Oh, he's making more course there. So this is where Protoss gets in limbo, right? He can't break this down. Or maybe he can. Are there no lurkers here?
That's a lot of Zealots, and no, there's no lurkers quite yet. The drone's having to be pulled immediately here.
Yeah.
Just drills some of them through all the way home.
You need to have the workers set up to block here, but look at this. He's doing a great job with that 1DT. Just one hitting that drone. You know what? Rain did it. He actually did it. It's very hard to do this, but he saw an opening, and he just busted through. And the SimCity was not enough, and this is actually where the Zerg can just lose the game.
Well, only 5 Zealots left over with the rest of his units coming down. It looks like he'll hold it, and he didn't lose that many drones, to be fair. He definitely forced a ton of units out, and really the army for Protoss was not really that expensive. He's taking his third during all this, so I like this move a lot by Rain. But
let's see when the next attack comes, because it's the lost mining and actually losing these drones here, like where the rush is still sort of happening. And if he even runs away with these Zealots, looks like he won't. You keep him alive for a little bit longer, you might be able to come in with the next bust. It's kind of weird how it works. Oh no, he just has Dragoons. I'm sorry. But yeah, that was pretty close. Zerg's got to be careful, because if you do lose that natural position, you can't protect the main.
Yeah.
That's why we always see them take the naturals, guys, is that it guarantees you the main. And you never want to take another main and then take the natural. You're making it way too hard for yourself.
Nick, I'm a little bit nervous about Rain right now. He's walking out with Dragoon High Templar, and once you run out of Psi Storms, like, unless you have a critical mass of Dragoons that just straight kills everything, Dragoons, like, alone, you need tanking or splash with them, and as soon as either of those run out, Zerg units beat Dragoons. So I'm a little bit nervous for him here, to be honest.
Yeah, you would need at least some Zealots. Even 2 or 3 would make a huge difference. You're totally right, Artosis. I think Rain may be getting a little bit desperate. Yeah. Keep in mind, these guys are probably super fatigued from Game 3. Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't have... This is not what a Protoss army is supposed to look like. You have to have the Zealots there.
Generally speaking, Dragoons are like a support unit in this matchup. They should never really be fighting alone. Again, like, he had 2-3 storms in there, and everything was fine until those ran out, and then that was it. Like, the Dragoons lose to Zerglings and lose to Hydras. Okay, to make that clear.
Yeah,
they are not strong without other units.
Despite that, it looks like he's going to be able to come in here and start taking out these drones as well as a Spore. Now, does he have enough Corsairs to come in and follow this up?
Where
are the
Corsairs? Know where his Corsairs even are right now,
I have
to be honest.
no idea. I still don't see him.
Yeah, they might be in the bottom,
Shine's
right?
actually looking
No,
for it.
that's
He's like,
Cannons, I think.
I don't see him.
Well, the DT still did some reasonable damage here.
He just has to run with this run. But what he's doing also is he's drawing the rest of the army into the main where he can come in with his actual healthy, actually what a Protoss army is supposed to look like, push, and possibly win it. He just needs to keep running with that DT.
Well, he tried to pull the tasteless move. In fact, I say that when a DT runs away to the side of the main, it's no longer a DT, it's a D-tasteless.
I like it, Artosis. I'll keep that one.
That was certainly a D-tasteless, how it ran to the side and got picked off anyway.
This is actually a much better bust attempt from Rain. He's actually doing, I think, what he's always been known to do right, is he's got enough Zealots to keep the Dragoons safe, but he's slowly elevatoring Zealots into the main. And this is actually really cool. I'm really intrigued by what I'm seeing here because it's, keep in mind that Zerg is getting half of his production from the bottom. Oh, hold up.
Oh, he needs to throw these storms out ASAP. Okay, he does get quite a few of them off. Might be able, oh god, he runs out of units here, and those are really low health lurkers.
Yeah, he could have killed all those lurkers had he had just a little bit more.
But this is great management by Larva. The fact that he picked off that shuttle so he didn't get all the Zealots in that he wanted, then came up and killed the rest of the army. Like, some damage is being done, sure, but Larva is not losing complete control. Like, I'm not thinking Larva's about to die at these moments.
No, not at all. That elevatoring of the Zealots coming in there was beautiful. You got to keep in mind, half the Zerg's production is at the bottom, half's at the top, right? So if you can get in there and pick them apart before the Nidus network comes into play, it's huge.
The Zealots finally get picked off. A ton of spines here, or Sunkens rather.
How dare you?
Oh, no.
Coming in here now and taking out the remaining lurkers. Is this enough, though? We have a lot of Lings coming in from behind.
6 Psystorm on those drones, a ton of damage being dealt. Lurkers coming down to help out once again, and a huge amount of Zerglings come down. Good Psystorms on them, but this army will fall once again. And Range is continually trying to break him here.
I feel like Rain is pushing so hard for a bust. He probably wins so many games on ladder with the bust. And he's kind of met his match here because, you know, on the mini-map, when we're all zoomed out, it seems kind of clear, okay, Rain is not going to actually pull through a lot of these times, but he's probably used to actually managing just fine with it. But yeah, Rain is kind of, again, playing by the Zerg's rules, and it seems to be working just fine here for Larva.
Well, the good thing for Rain, I would say, though, is that he took that bottom natural, right? So he is on 4 bases, 4 gases, and it looks like he's getting ready to take the bottom right, although that could be a little bit difficult to defend if Larva starts dropping there at all.
Yeah.
It is kind of like way out of the way for Rain. But he's still got good supply, right? He's still got his splash damage, decent upgrades going. Going into Reaver Tech, it looks like now. He's going to get some of those speed shuttles as well.
By the way, guys, the map is going to be effectively cut in half. It's not clear who gets to get the top center or the bottom. I guess the bottom could maybe go to Protoss, but not necessarily, depending on if Zerg secured or not. But this is a different situation than what we saw on the previous map. It's more outlined who gets what. This is funny here by Larva. I didn't actually expect this at all.
Yeah, this counterattack, that's only cannons, so the Adrenalings are going to be able to get up here and wreck them in just a matter of seconds. And with the lurkers on the high ground, I mean, that's kind of gross for Zealots to run up.
Absolutely it is. Here comes a big storm drop. Is Larva paying attention? Wow, so much damage done just there.
Seriously.
And you know what? Rain keeps the Nexus alive. He's doing just fine. I love it.
Look at the Lurker Egg, though, buying him a lot of time right there to deal as much damage as he could. But Rain evacuated a lot. Oh my God. DTs in the main.
You know, for all the action and fights we've seen, sometimes it's one good storm drop with DTs like this that actually wins the game.
Very often,
for the spawning pool. And I would be curious to see how many drones Larva actually has now, as that number's basically been cut in half. And it looks like he will get the spawning pool. Wow.
Whoa, it was in the main base again.
Yeah, look at that.
So
Isn't that
weird.
crazy, Artosis?
He lost in the main once already and then rebuilt in the main, but now he's rebuilding it somewhere else. So if that gets recalled, and I mentioned the spawning pool, we got the spawning pool there.
He's, Rain actually might have just done it with that drop. This is going to give a big tempo swing here to Rain.
He's really taking control.
Oh, losing these workers in the middle of the map. I'm really hoping we go to Game 5 here. I'm enjoying the series between these two players. They're super evenly matched. Larva is trying to once again pounce on this expansion. Hoping that there's not enough Zealots, not enough cannons here. Seems like Protoss constantly is just barely having enough to try to hold this off.
As long as he doesn't lose too many probes here or the Nexus, it's going to be very, very good. It looks like he just barely holds on against those Lings. Zealot's really important at that point. Adrenalings kill cannons so quickly.
Oh, it's insane. You have to have Zealots to try to
they tank the damage, basically.
Yeah. It's not even really about them doing any damage at all. It's just buying time. And Rain is going to go for a full-on bust here. It's just going to be the moment he actually pulls it off. So many lurkers going down here. Look at the eggs blocking the Zealots off.
Oh, that lurker on high ground as well. Larva using every trick in the book right now. Will it be enough to hold on? Rain looks like he's starting to turn around a little bit.
I gotta say, man, it's like he's so close to breaking him every time, and he just cannot get in there.
Oh my God. Like, what I'm watching from Larva holding on against this, I feel like I'm watching someone cut out every single coupon from the Sunday paper.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, look at this. 2 Zealots for the price of 1. Okay, that's a lurker on high ground. He cuts that one right out, gives it to the cashier.
He goes to the shuttle section, takes one of those shuttles and drops it on the ground so it's dented, says he gets it for free now.
He's checking out as the Dragoons attack. He's like, wait a second. And he walks back into the store, slowing the line to return the brand of milk he got because the other brand was on sale. Tasteless, the Scourge comes in and hits the Observer.
I'm liking the budget play here from our Zerg player. It's paying off. Again, if Larva can outlast Protoss. Okay, hold on. Is there enough over here? One good storm could save the day. Oh, these Overlords are getting cold feet. I can't do it, man. Oh!
Right on top
Poor
of that
Templar.
Oh, it's right underneath.
He like points to the other Templar.
Oh my God. Well,
whenever the Templar's there and you realize there's not much it's going to really get, you just got to make do. Like, okay, storm this one Ling.
Now look at this, the 5th base being taken here by Larva. Definitely a very important base.
Yeah, that's the one base that's on Larva's side of the map that Protoss can actually knock out. Because it doesn't have creep there yet. It doesn't have any Zerg structures just yet.
A lot of lurkers being brought up. Okay, Link drop coming down now. He's going to need to storm that immediately. Okay, this base is dead.
And everything dies in 2 seconds because of track lanes.
If he gets a storm like immediately there even, he still loses this. It's enough Zerglings. So good job there by Larva.
The harass on both sides is fantastic with these two guys. All right. Some side storms actually doing a really nice job.
Some sick juking and jiving though on those drones, realizing what's coming for him.
Yeah, Larva's really on top of his game here. He's got to have so many of those screen hotkeys being used. I would be very curious to see where he's hotkeys what, since there's so many harass points.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, I think Larva's going to get the center left base.
I think Larva's going to take this game.
I think so.
That Ling drop in the bottom right, and the fact that Rain wasn't able to get it. We were talking about that earlier as well, where it's like, okay, Rain can get that, but when Larva starts going drops, it's too far out of the way. He can't save it if it gets dropped, basically. He needed, like, a huge amount of defense there to save it, and unfortunately now he's sitting here on what is actually 2 base economy. And of course, Larva being a Zerg player, and Zerg players don't have many drones, you know, he's got, like, what economy you're looking at right now? 5 base economy. It's pretty sick.
This is truly impressive here. Now, whenever you start to see the Reavers in the game, that's when you know that Protoss is going to hunker down. Protoss is saying, okay, let's make this a fight actually about the 3 bases in the middle of the map. Top center, bottom center, and middle.
Middle.
The middle, as I like to say. The odds of the middle base actually being the last base to fight over are low, but if we get to that point, that is what happens.
Well, he's got to bring cost efficiency to another level at this point. You know, Larva's just kind of been holding on too well. Is he just loading up drones?
I guess so.
Overload, I believe so.
I don't know. I don't think he has a Nidus over to that center left base.
He's close enough with that where those drones are being loaded up.
Is Rain just going to try to bust in again?
I don't know, man. Like that base, the 9 o'clock base on the high ground there, he's got to defy. Oh God, come on! Oh.
Well, he just wants to get storms on those lurkers. The problem for Protoss is that you can keep making lurkers behind that. Now, if these are crack leads, the Reavers might actually save the day.
Yeah.
And I think he actually is going to be okay.
Oh, and a side storm, so definitely he will be. A huge attack coming in. The old natural here.
Oh, the observer goes down. Does he have another one? I don't see it.
He's having a very hard time. He's on top of a lurker right now with these Archons. Good storms do come down, but here come the reinforcements by Larva. He's got to pull back the rest of his units.
If he doesn't get an observer over here, he's going to lose the fight, no matter what. And that's just a big one here for...
oh, God.
Yeah, again, it's the same story. He's trying to push... I appreciate it, but he's falling victim to the Zerg's trap. The Zerg is cost-efficiently trading over and over and over, killing Archons and Templars, where you're just losing sunken colonies. And
he can't keep an observer alive to save his life at this point.
Yeah. Not that I would do any better, but it's the hard part that Protoss has to deal with.
It's such a tough thing for Rain at this point. I'm actually starting to feel a little bit scared for Shine. He might be dead by the end of this game.
This is so funny.
It's like a Scourge goes through the monitor and Shine's like, no!
Once again,
I swear,
don't be a hero, Templar.
I'm a pro gamer, not a real observer.
Okay, this is something he cannot allow.
That's the game ender right
there. To be
there.
honest, he probably would need like DTs here just to make sure that Zerg can't get up there. But let's see, Reavers can allow you to push through. Okay, he actually might still break this point.
Yeah, he's breaking it pretty well. Oh, Scourge into... that shuttle did not unload whatever was in it, I don't think.
I believe you're right.
And even the Observer, of course, will end up going out. Look at this. He's actually got Observer speed at this point. He's trying so hard to keep him alive. Bless his Protoss heart.
So, Zerg's going to get this base at the top center. Now we want to watch for the bottom center base. Protoss kind of really sort of has to take that base pretty soon.
Well, he certainly can't let Zerg have it.
No.
And
he will lose if Zerg gets it, for sure.
And I'm afraid that what Rain is going to do is try to break an expansion again, but his army is super small at this point.
Yeah. I think head-to-head, the Zerg actually beats the Protoss' army.
By the way, you do not get a notification verbally for one hits, like a Zergling dying to a DT strike or a drone or a probe or whatever. So he loses all of those Zerglings to that DT. Kind of nice.
Okay. Once again, Zerg going to try to come in here, just do any damage he can get away with. Not
Great
bad.
sniping.
Maybe he just goes right for the Nexus here.
Lots of cannons first.
Yeah, because anything he can get to make the Protoss try to reclaim this. It's sort of an awkward base here, too, because the amount of minerals that are left almost make it not worth making a Nexus there.
Did you see that? He picked up the remaining Zerglings in that Overlord and is going to drop him in the main.
Oh, that's
wow.
cute.
I
like
love the way Larva's playing this, man.
Here we go. Just by the Scourge. No, Scourge has been activated. Okay. That Templar's going to stay there.
God, 250 energy on that High Templar.
Oh, yeah.
He better get all his storms off.
Looks like there were no Overlords here. I guess there was one above, so he does just catch that last one.
He's just doing the rounds right now with this shuttle. Yeah. It's not working out, though. Oh, there you go.
Great size storm drop.
Oh, it even gets out. Pretty sick. Looks like another attack going to be going up towards the north. No, turns around. It's very hard for him to break a ramp with lurkers on it and a defiler.
In case you guys are wondering why he's continuously trying to push into the upper left for most of this game, that's because that's where all the Zerg tech is, and taking that out makes Zerg plummet into this weird phase where they're having to remake tech instead of remaking their army. And then Protoss tries to go from there. Now, this time around, let's see where he pushes in. It looks like, once again, it is going to be the same location. And Zerk's actually extended. Whoa, what was that?
I think you right-clicked the shuttle.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and the shuttle just ran away. So now these Reavers actually getting some really insane damage on. Of course, the observers are all dead, so you can't see the lurkers
it's the
to
same
kill
thing
them.
again. It's the same story,
God.
man.
And that is the only mobile detection that Protoss has, just to make this completely clear. It's cannons and observers, so that's it. And he's not going to build a cannon over there, but maybe it would live longer.
Oh my God, hold position lurkers. Just doing some extra damage here. It's tough for Protoss to move that maxed out army.
Look at this, Larva is everywhere.
Yeah, Larva's actually killing it, man. He's really putting, a veteran really Rain to task here. This guy is like, had all the glory in StarCraft 2, and now Larva, sort of our new age Zerk streamer, our up and comer, is doing it, man. He's totally doing it.
Now Rain has lost that base. He really only has the bottom right bases at this point. Looks like he wants to push once again. He does have the Reavers, so that is something that can really help. And with this many Archons, he can protect everything from Scourge. Archons do very well against them. He's got to keep that Observer alive!
This is a really tense moment here for Larva because he knows he's got this as long as he can keep this army at bay. At the same time, this army, the damage output is so insane. Okay, he does save the Reavers. He's backing up. You might as well just hotkey your observatory. Just have, the Robo, and just constantly be making.
He needs to go 3 Robo Observer at this point.
This is what you need to do.
The thing is, a Scourge is like, you can, as like a 2 Scourge, right? It's 50-75 for the Observer and 25-75 for 2 Scourge.
Hold on a second. Is it possible to have enough armor on air that it takes 2 Scourge to kill an Observer?
No.
It's never there,
It's 110 damage for a Scourge.
So there's no way to make it so that you could.
Imagine Observers with that much health. Oh my God, 110 health Observer. How much do they actually have? Like 80? Not even, right?
I don't know.
Like
I'm
60?
actually really bad with the actual numbers.
I don't know the numbers on the Observer. I just know that if Terran sees it with more than Marines, it's dead.
Yeah, basically. Okay, now he's trying to mix it up here, saying perhaps Zerk doesn't have enough defense down here at the bottom. Let's see if that's actually the case. It looks pretty thin, to be honest. It actually doesn't look like he needs to get rid of that Nidus maybe even a little bit quicker. Is this enough, though? Really, it's the Reavers that are coming through doing the damage.
Yeah. He loses all the shuttles, by the way, during this. His shuttles just flew right over the Hydras and they targeted him down.
He might need to get Reaver capacity.
He might need to get out of this game because Larva is going to finish him off, it looks like. So few units left for Rain here. He's actually down supply now.
Yeah.
God, you can't get more efficient than what we see Rain doing, but it's not. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough, man.
Well, it's sort of weird. One of the problems that happens when you have the Reavers like this is that they run out of Scarabs and you're not remaking them fast enough, and they just die.
Yeah, Scarabs don't build super duper fast, to be perfectly honest, and the carrying capacity, if you do up them to 10, it just takes forever to run out. But when you're actually hitting buildings, Zerk can just wait until you use your Scarabs and then attack you.
Okay, and that's exactly what he's done right here. Very patient by Larva. I think Rain may even tap out.
Yeah, he doesn't really have anything left here.
Yeah.
And he knows that Larva has 2 very fresh bases. In fact,
there it is, GG.
Okay, this was a really great series.
Look at Larva. This is the greatest moment in his StarCraft Brood War career. Look at this.
Truly is.
He is actually a guy who is just another streamer. He just kept training hard. He's developed a very big fan base here in Korea, but he was always viewed differently than, for instance, someone like Rain or these other great players. And he actually 3-1s in macro games.
Dude,
this
so
incredible player. And you can see the emotions just flooding through him. Look at how happy he is.
Well, he should be. This is such a big moment for him, and Rain is no slouch. He played magnificently here. And, I mean, this is a father as well, guys. He's got more personality than a gaggle of pro gamers together. He's just, look at this guy.
Oh! I love
it. This guy is a true StarCraft player, man. I love him.
Yeah. We're going to go to an interview with him shortly. There's his baby.
Yep.
And his wife.
So cute.
He's like, yeah, Dad. You're the best. Those Defiler flags, they were insane. A lot of people very happy to see Larva move on. I gotta say, I really did think Rain was gonna win today. I really was confident.
Coming in today, I thought he would probably take it, but I mean, this was a really hard match to call, and at the end of the day, like, Rain kept on washing up against these hard-to-break defenses. I think you're right, he probably has a lot of success killing those, because Larva was barely holding, and he is one of the best Zergs in the world right now.
That's what I'm chalking it up to, is I think in practice that always works. And I think Rain just wasn't able to adapt in a best of 5 like he should have. After the Skull Desert, I think you say, oh, no more.
정말 축하드려요.
Okay, here we go. Congratulations,
보는 내내
Larva.
정말 소름이
Thank you.
돋았어요. 지금 너무 기쁘실 것 같은데 소감
I
한번
have
들어볼까요?
goosebumps.
진짜
You must be so happy. Tell us what you're feeling.
여태까지
네.
우승은 아닌데 여태까지 도전했던 게
I know it's not the championship.
더라고요. 마지막에
But all my
쌈싸
effort
먹을 때 그래가지고
in the past.
되게 기분이 묘했어요. 근데 이제 4강이니까
그쵸, 이제 시드를 따는
When I had those matches, Game 3 and Game 4, I was just really thinking about my past and how hard I've worked. I'm so happy I don't have to go through the qualifiers for the next ASL Season 2.
제가 진짜 놀랐던
I don't even know what I'm really supposed to say right now. I'm just really happy.
정민준 선수를 완전 찍어 누르는 그런 느낌이었는데 어떻게 이렇게 갑자기 단기간에 실력이 느셨는지 그게 정말 궁금하더라고요.
All of a sudden, in a very short period, you've exploded in skill.
집에서 했던
Tell us about
실력이
that.
후에서 잘 나왔던
I
것 같아요.
think it's not all of sudden. It's
온라인에
been gradual.
혼자였는데 이제 오프라인에서도
I feel like I play this level at home, but I wasn't able to bring this same kind of play into an offline
만
tournament.
해도 시청자들이 막 뭐 날빌 쓴다. 그래서 스트레스를 좀 많이
When
받았던 이몽규 선수라서 그런 빌드를 시전에 했음에도 좀 많이 부담스러웠을 것 같은데 말이죠.
이것도 이제 약간의 심리전이 있었는데
People were saying you're only gonna cheese.
계속 12
It's not
뒷마당을
the case.
먹었어요. 입구에 드론을 세워두고
This is part of my mind games.
그래가지고 이제 심리전으로 나는 운영이다 약간 라는 걸 보여준 다음에 1시에다가 해처리 몰래 해처리로 저글링 넣으시
I'm pretending that I'm going to go for a long game.
준비를 했었어요. 근데 이제 김태경 선수랑 연습을 하는데 이게 들킨 거예요.
So a lot of times when I was practicing and when people were watching online, I was doing a lot of ling rushes, but that was not what I was planning to bring in to a big offline match for this.
그래가지고 이걸 어떻게 해야 될까 했는데 태경이 형이 그냥
In some of those games,
이런 거 저런 거 다
I think you're talking about the game where he got
생각하면
scouted while he was going to do that rush. But he said his BC has been advising him.
굉장히
BC was telling me I just need to believe in myself, focus on that.
다수이드라 운영을
and I could
선택했는데
deliver.
확실한 뭔가를 보여주지 못한 채 좀 패배를 해버렸습니다.
너무 신냈어요. 솔직히 제가 유리했었는데 가만히 있으면 유리했었는데
Seems like you
이제
prepped something,
프로토스가 드라곤 질럿 공격
but Rain was able to crush you in map 2. Okay, so I was too excited after winning game 1, honestly. I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do in game 2.
이거 싸먹으면
Since Rain,
헤드셋 벗는 순간 와 함성 소리 들린다.
when Rain's in his Dragoons over there.
좀 멋있게 해보려다가
Sorry guys, this is going so fast.
터지고 1대1이 되면서
He's saying in game 2 he got ahead of
게다가 세
himself.
번째 경기에서는 이거 프로토스가 확장도 빠르고 왜 저그랑 확장이 똑같은 거야 하면서
I was thinking that if I won game number 2, it would
이게 중반
there'd be a lot of applause. Yeah, a lot of applause.
Kind of too excited.
Yeah, he was basically just too.
He was a wiggle nerd after winning game 1.
Oh yeah.
운영 싸움을 가게 되면 극후반전을 가게 되면 타 스타팅을 저우가 처음에
They're talking about
먹어버리게
Gold
되면
Rush Skull Desert here now.
3분의 2를 먹어요 맵에. 그래가지고 어쨌든 공격을 안 가도 돼요. 이거는 공격을 안 가고 버티면 무조건 제가 자원상으로 유리한 싸움이
So
될
you're
거라고
taking up that other main by taking the natural.
별로 신경은 안 썼어요. 토스가 멀티를 먹든 말든 그냥
I knew if I could just
먹자.
take that side of the map and then take the bases on the
아비토가
side,
떨어진 이후 약간의 시간이
I would have a big chance to win in the long run.
인구수가 비슷해지고 그때 올라가서 이 미네랄 확장을 부셨던 것이 아주
What did you think when Rain was using arbiters and
이 네
using
번째
recall?
경기에서는 비슷한 양상으로 이어지는데 그때보다는 약간 좀 분위기가 좋은 그런 느낌이었죠.
이거는 이제 이거 큰일 났다. 투원에서 왜냐하면 5경기 크로싱 필드 준비 하나도 안 했거든요.
안 했다고요?
1, 2, 3세트만 준비했고 이제
They're already on the crossing field. They're saying Larva didn't really have a big plan on crossing
여기서
fields.
무조건 이겨야 되는데
He mostly put his effort into the first map, the second, and the third map.
신경 하나하나
Didn't really have much of a plan
세포까지
on the some of the other maps.
암세포까지 하다못해 암세포까지 이제 경기하라고 약간 도움을 줬던 것 같습니다.
예, 그러다가 이 프로토스의 분노의 분노의 러시 그것을 잘 막아내면서 그때부터는 좀 잘 풀리는구나 라는 생각을
Sorry guys, this is
하셨을
going
것
to the speed of light
같은데
here.
이제 토스가 네 번째 넥서스가 되게 빨랐어요. 그래서
interview.
막고 이긴 줄 알았다 이러는데 네 번째 넥서스가 되게 빠른 거예요. 그래서 이거는 내가 저기 치는 거는 좀 그렇고 지금 오프라인이고 또
I knew that Protoss was trying to expand pretty quickly. I think we're talking about fighting spirit now.
이거 어차피 토스가 빨리
My pants weren't moving at 100%.
떨어지겠구나 해가지고 그냥
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to take him out.
바닥을 잡았던 것 같아요.
So I mixed it up.
사람이 이렇게 한 시즌 만에
And I tried to instead focus way more on defense in that game.
실력적으로도 또 이 오프라인 대회에서의
So I think he wanted to be aggressive, but Rain pulled back after game 1 into only Forge expand, so he decided to get defensive against that.
맥그리거.
오로지 맥그리거. 예, 또 상금 저 600만 달러를 위해서 좀
Why are you not getting
달려야 되니까요.
nervous this
네,
season?
이제 결승도 얼마 남지가 않았는데 결승 꼭 진출하고
He
싶으시죠?
says because I'm McGregor.
진출하기
Squeeze Larva
위해서는 오늘 이제
McGregor,
보완할
Tosis.
점이 있다면 뭐가 있을까요?
Korean McGregor.
4강전까지는 문제가 없어요. 왜냐하면 저저전을 이번에 연습을 많이 하면서
So you're in the semifinals.
감각이 많이 올랐고 또 자신감도 충분하기 때문에
I'm confident going into the semifinals
이영호 선수 아니면 김태경 선수
because I know I'm good as ZVZ player.
제 생각에
So I'll be thinking of that moving forward.
생각은 할 수 있죠. 네.
이제 그 선수들
Also, I think it's probably going to be either Beast or Flash in the finals. That's just my opinion, though.
네.
방송에선 티 안 내고
조금 이르지만 그럼 결승에서 만나고 싶은
I think I'm going to have more time to prep for the finals.
플래시.
플래시. 또 도발하는
I know it's a little early to talk about.
네, 주변에
Who would you
없으면
prefer
이렇게
to face off in the finals?
하시는 건 아니죠?
아니 근데 도발을 했는데 다음날 바로 스톤 게임을 오더라고요. 그래가지고 기죽여 놓더라고요, 되게. 그래가지고 요새 좀 피했거든요. 그래가지고.
If I provoke Flash, he'll even take my. He'll take a challenge from me online.
이제 마지막으로 응원해주신 우리 팬
But
여러분,
I honestly think I could be okay facing Flash.
인사 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
이제 8강이
Any words to your
원래
fans?
두 선수 하는 줄 알았어요. 그래서 당일날 네 선수가 게임하는 줄 알고 그럼 관중분들 많이 오겠구나 했는데 두 명이서
I actually thought we were going to have 2 quarterfinal matches in a day.
큰일 났다. 이것도 흥행 대실패.
After I realized they had only one,
정말 많이 오셨는데.
정말 많이 와주셔가지고 기분 너무 좋고.
I was actually worried.
사진 찍고 사인하고.
What if there aren't that many people that show up to the studio? I was really surprised to see this many people came down to cheer for
좋은 모습
Rain and myself. So thank you everybody.
네, 이몽규
That's
선수 만나봤습니다.
baby.
그럼
That's
오늘의
the
경기
so
결과를
actual
화면으로
larva.
확인해 보시죠.
Yeah. Look at that little baby.
Oh, look at that little rattle bear thing with
I
no
know, it's
arms.
pretty cute. So Larva in I would say a pretty impressive moment, if not the most impressive moment in his entire pro gaming career, actually takes out Rain, a StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 veteran. Also breaking the curse that he's only a top tier player online and can't possibly perform in the studio.
Well, this is legit play from Larva, and the fact that he's won in these macro games against a great macro player.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watch online, he can take down Flash. So he might be able to actually bring it. Of course, this is our Tuesday match that you guys will see, Sulky versus Hero. And as well as Larva's playing, my money is on Sulky as the best Zerg in the world. I think he is just in the most ridiculous form right now, and I could see either of those guys possibly going up and giving Flash a real run for their money in the finals.
I think so. My little bro, Day 9, was actually saying he thinks Sulky's going to win this entire season of ASL.
Oh, really?
I think it's actually a pretty safe bet.
He's pretty smart, isn't he?
Well,
to agree with Tosis. Well, no, I think Flash is going to beat him in the finals, obviously.
How could you think anything else? Look, actually, I think that Sulky is a safe bet. He looks really good.
He does.
He I think actually looks better than all the other Zergs that we have, even Larva.
I do too. I think he is a stronger Zerg overall than Larva right now.
It's really tough to call that ZVZ specifically that's coming up because both those guys are so good.
Yeah, Sulky vs. Hero hasn't been played yet. It's a best of 5. You never know.
Interesting to see, by the way, that Larva is confident in ZVZ right now. With those two guys coming out,
he did win that ZVZ group.
True,
he did it very strategically based on a lot of Ling play. But, I mean, everyone's going to be really ready by that point. But he gets to start practicing his ZVZ right now. He gets to watch these two ZVZs, so he's kind of got a leg up in that way, right? He's going to watch a best of 5, and whoever wins that, he knows what strats
he's
they
got
like.
basically exactly a week before that match happens. And, of course, studying those two.
Actually, it's 2 weeks.
CVZ. I'm sorry. That's right. It's 2 weeks. Yeah.
Because next week is the other round of 8, so then a round of 4, 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're right. Then he has all this time to get ready for ZVZ. That's going to be the craziest ZVZ in Brood War when we finally get to that point in time.
Yeah, and the thing is, these other guys have been practicing that long already, right, for ZVZ. So it's like there's going to be some really teched out, prepped up Zerg players.
That's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us. We will see you on Tuesday, same time, same place. We love you. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are.
The challenge begins.